All simps are innocent until voted guilty by the chat.
Yo, Snoop K on the mic. This one for all my time disgraced geisha bitches. Yeah. No, we back in the day, 16th century, same Goku era, straight feudal energy, samurai on the rise, Ganyo in the mix. Hold up, Tokugawa fixing conflicts quick, ninja creeping in the shadows, silent and swift, castles fortified, loyalties to gifts. Bushido cold, honest in the heart, blades clashing, battlefields to art. Same Goku times, they be wild and crazy sizzle, samurai life, it's the warlord fizzle. Feudal Japan in the house like a drizzle, history in the rhyme feel the ancient sizzle.
Before we begin, what do you think of my totally accurate samurai attire, right?
Nando roads take me home to the clan I belong. West of my road, Death Watch Mama, take me home, Mando roads.
そして最後のタイムブレイカー、キーはついに封印されました。なんと黒のディフェンダータイムサイダーが犯罪組織カイザーシンジケットを完全に終わらせました。
Kneel and be amazed at the touch of the black man. Ooh. I bring life.
Fallen shadows, you retreat, but the world is on its feet. Try to spin your lies, but the sun's too bright to beat. Dressed up history like a mask you wear, but the past is roaring louder as you fade into the air. Every story carved in stone, every legend we've been shown. Now you're turning away, oh yeah, but you can't outrun the day. The truth is coming, there's no stopping it, no. Rising fire, feel the hearts inspired. You can't hide away, no. But you can keep running, but the truth is coming, there's no stopping it, no. Rising fire, feel the hearts inspired. You can't hide away, no.
Hi. Just Well, taking the moment, right? Assassin's Creed is on the run. Ubisoft ran away from the Japanese. But the biggest news out there on the internet right now that is consuming probably every live stream this evening, everywhere across the world, is this. That's right. Genshin Impact has officially announced a collaboration between itself and good old KFC. That's right. Genshin Impact is bringing all sorts of fun and boycotty deliciousness right to KFC's front door. Can't wait for all the psychobabble to come pouring out of 11 different herbs and spices. To discuss this fantastic development with me is the lovely Miss Nerdigans. Good evening, Miss Nerdigans.
Good evening, Cider. And Black Shirt Army.
Yeah, right, the black shirts. Right, I forgot to run that intro. Anyway, out of all the intros we ran, that's the one I forgot. But yeah, I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. I cannot wait for more psychobabble to come out of the boycotters.
Oh, God. It's one thing after another with them.
Absolutely. And the chat's aware of it all. They've been riding along with us on this. So let's take a look at what the quote tweets are on about this. As you mentioned, they were a little.
Well, Japanese on the Japanese side of things, they're just we have fried chicken. I also sent the link to the English responses to it because there's another one. Yeah, here we go again. It just never ends with them. There should be a bigger reason to continue boycotting all their collabs and them, because now they just 100% solidified their stance on supporting a genocide.
What, chicken genocide?
These people, they honestly don't know that the country that funds Hoyoverse has been committing a genocide for at least almost a decade now. They really don't know. It's just so funny to me, and it just shows you how performative this all is.
It's chicken. It's chicken. What did they expect to get out of KFC? Like, are they going to get like a Colonel cosplayer to go fight the war for them? No. It's ridiculous. It's like going after McDonald's. Ronald McDonald isn't the one dropping bombs. It's got nothing to do with any of that. You can't go after your regional managers, your franchise owners. They've got nothing to do with any of this. You're just harassing people trying to get a Big Mac. Ridiculous.
Or a bucket of fried chicken.
Well, in this case, yeah. And they all have watermelon in their emoji.
That's supposed to be for Palestine. But the thing is though, and this is what it is. Because what these kids are learning in school is they're learning to judge the opposite of what Martin Luther King Jr. wanted, is to judge people by their skin. And what they're seeing in Israel and Palestine is that it's white people bombing brown people. They don't understand the context of the whole situation. They don't understand that they believe that all Arabs are like one thing. They don't understand that there's a whole civil war going on over there, that not all Arabs like each other, that there's quite a few Arab nations there that don't like the Palestinians and won't take them in for a multitude of reasons. So it's just like and the thing that frustrates me the most about all this is like, you have the largest database at your fingertips, known as the internet, and you don't use it.
Well,
you use it for TikTok and other bullshit, but you don't use it for anything else.
Right, actually searching for a result is too difficult for a lot of them. And again, they take cues from who they see as authority figures, and those authority figures are TikTokers with bigger subscriber numbers, follower numbers than they have. That's how it works now. It's that simple. Somebody with bigger numbers than you, well, they're telling the truth, and they have to be believed because they've got bigger numbers. That's all it takes.
What's funny, though, is that more of the Genshin streamers that were boycotting are now getting paid to collab with McDonald's, and now they're pissed.
Womp womp. What a surprise. But that's the problem with all of this, right? As I said, it's about chicken. It's about chicken. You can't, you can't tie this to, it's like the 60s, right? In the 60s and the 70s, they were protesting the Vietnam War. They would
It was
protest.
Actual protest. It was a legit protest. They knew what they were protesting about.
Sometimes they just protested a business that had like pro-Vietnam signs out in front of it. Like a local mom and pop hardware shop went out of business because people wouldn't let folks into it because they were supporting their son that was at war. And that's sometimes that kicks over. It's the same thing that's happened here with the Genshin kids. They can't get at the target that they want to. They can't get at the people that they actually want to fight. So they go at a target they can get a hold of. They're slacktivists, as you said. They're slacktivists. They're not really invested in this. Someone else has made them more aware of a situation than honestly that they need to be, and honestly they've colored what they see of that situation.
It's really frustrating. They're a lot of them are minors. They really are, and that's really scary that these minors are getting indoctrinated like this.
Well, you may have missed it a little bit. I was part of the generation where they were letting kids out, middle school kids, out of school, telling them to walk out of school.
Oh, I was
teachers
there.
were leading it. Yeah, so we would have like middle schoolers, 12-year-olds would be out front of the school making protest signs to protest mean old George Bush in the Iraq-Afghanistan war. 12-year-olds.
Actually, you know what? Now I'm thinking about it. In middle school, because I went to one of the, and this was at the time, it was like the top 10 middle schools in California at the time. We didn't do that kind of stuff, actually. We didn't have, like, there was a walkout for, like, the illegal immigration situation in, at my high school, like, 2004 or 2005-ish. And the kids just, like, walked out, got up and left. And the teacher, at least my teacher anyway, because this was in my French class, he didn't do anything. He didn't encourage it. He was just like, whatever. They can do what they want.
They could be dumb and lose
credit. They could be stupid and lose credit, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And our schools did do that because I'm up in the liberal north, they were all like, oh yes, you're 12 years old. You obviously have a good enough understanding of the world. Go on out there and make protest signs instead of learning things that you're going to need 10 years from now.
Yeah, it wasn't like that at my school. But like then again, and this is in the Bay Area. I grew up in the Bay Area, which is pretty liberal for the most part. But we didn't do that shit.
Well, you know who's always pro-war? Their Metal Gear Solid franchise. And thanks to the PlayStation State of Play announcement, we've been told about Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. And my guess is this is going to be a remaster. But from what I can see what's going on with the trailer for this, I think one of these is it over here. I forget where I stashed it. There it is. We're not going to play the sound, obviously, but as you can see here, it looks like it's a remaster, but I don't recognize a couple of these scenes, so they're making a big deal out of Ocelot crashing into those barrels, so I have a feeling that's a much bigger situation than it was before. So, you'll have to let me know out there in the chat, though, out there in the replays, if all of that, like, tracks for you, if that makes any sense for you, because again, we can't show the trailer because we'll probably get hit. It's just fresh, like it's fresh. So, and so what do you think though, Nerdigans? Are you excited about Metal Gear going on without Kojima?
It's really sad that it's not with Kojima. Like you would think Konami would at least try and work something out with Kojima to get him to work on this game and make peace with it, but nah, it's just not going to happen.
That's what makes me worried about it, is it's going to be another one that's got a name and it's not what we expect it to be. So it worries me, As you can see,
what I was going to say is it's like because people have been and we'll get to, I know, Ghost of Yotei in a minute, but, like, people have been flipping out about Ghost of Yotei, and I'm like, dude, you've got the same director there. Why are you flipping out? If Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater had the same, if Kojima was there, then I would be like, dude, you're worried about nothing. But you don't have Kojima there. That's what it's like.
Right.
It's kind of rough when you don't have the person who made it the original one there.
Right, and it's not like he's dead. He's just bored of it. You know?
Yeah, he wanted to move on. He's working on Death Stranding.
Honestly, I think he wanted to do other things with the franchise, and it's Konami, right, that has this, or Konami, yeah.
It's Konami.
They just couldn't fathom a Metal Gear franchise that went beyond the limitations of Snake's very narrow gene pool. So they and that's what happened, is that it's just trapped to Snake. And we saw with Revengeance the possibility of having like stories told outside of Snake's purview. Raiden was a fantastic protagonist in that game, and I really wish they would do more games with him and Wolf. I really wish we could play more games with Raiden. Snake is great and all, but he's got that late 80s protagonist attitude where he doesn't say much. Granted, he's got a lot of speaking lines, but he's not saying much. You know exactly where Raiden stands in the world. You know exactly what he thinks about a cup of coffee. You know, I love that about that character. But,
yeah, it's just a shame Konami like limited him to that. Limited the Metal Gear Solid to that, where again I gotta point out to Ghost go back to Ghost for a second. It's where the Ghost of series, it sounds like they're gonna be able to do like a different character for each entry of the series, because it's gonna be like an anthology, which is very, very ambitious, but I think it's smart. I know people are pissed about it, but I think it's a good direction.
Yeah, you got a point, Nina. I don't really want Raiden to come back, I guess. He wouldn't be the Raiden. He'd be like Mimi. He'd be talking about like Among Us. Katrina would probably be in charge of writing his dialogue. So you got a point. I guess I don't want Raiden to be in any future games because they'd ruin him. You got a point.
Yeah, they would, because you don't have Kojima or a successor handpicked by Kojima to do it. Like if this was like a situation where Kojima picked someone to take over the franchise, I think it'd be a little bit different.
Yeah, you're right. There's a reason Snake is playable in Smash and Raiden is an assist trophy. Yeah. It was such an enchanting game. I still go back to the soundtrack frequently. Like every year, for whatever reason, the moon lines just right, and several hundred Let's Players decide to play Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance for the very first time, and hundreds of thousands of new young people get exposed to this all over again, and it's just a fantastic time to see all these people come like, oh my gosh, the Senator, he's got a point. I love Raiden. That I Am My Own Master Now song is great. All the remixes that'll come out of that music too. Crazy. There's a whole genre of like speed metal Eurobeat now, thanks to that. Yeah, Raiden has a great design. Yeah, I can't find it. I was trying to dig it up here before the show started, but it was just too much of a hurry. But there's a meme where Raiden's driving like a Honda, and Wolf is in the back, and Wolf says, "Raiden, please roll down the window. I wish to simulate riding in a car as a dog." Raiden says, "No, you attract too much attention." And Wolf says, "Look in the mirror and say that line again." They're such a great team. That's why I wish we could see more of them, but you got a point. He did come back, but is cursed as crossover in Fortnite.
God. Fortnite is just a freaking curse.
When they put Thanos in it, when they put Thanos in Fortnite, you kind of knew it was over with. But as you mentioned, though, there is a lot of controversy around the Ghost of Yotei situation we're seeing unfold. The state of play showed us a new game coming out in continuation of the Ghost of Tsushima storyline. It follows I believe female protagonist.
Yeah, it's a female protagonist. It takes place 300 years after the events of Ghost of Tsushima, and it takes place in modern what would be Hokkaido at Mount Yotei. Now, the only concern that I saw with the Japanese from Japanese Twitter, and I'm really curious how this is going to be handled, is during this time period there was a large Ainu population, and I'm curious how they're going to tackle that, and how, especially in the story.
Now, For you at home that don't know, the Anu, however you prefer to say it, are the Russian descended precursors to the Korean fishermen and Chinese fishermen that came to live in Japanese islands as we recognize them today. The Anu were a tan, Caucasoid group of people who were, well, kind of hunted into extinction, kind of not. They were basically subjugated, in for lack of a better term. So when Nerdigans brings up her curiosity about how they'll be handled, it brings up the Yasuke situation again, but I would say more 10 times over, because the Japanese population as we recognize them today were hostile toward the Anu when they came across them, and of course subjugated them. So,
but like we've seen how they've been handled in series like Golden Kamui, and they were handled extremely well. So that's why I'm curious how they're going to do it. But what Jason Connell and Nate Fox said to the New York Times really struck me in terms of the inspiration for the game's setting. It was during a couple of research trips into northern Japan, and the Sucker Punch team, which mostly resides in Washington State. Yes, it's Washington State. It's not California. Washington State, by the way, is way more liberal than California is. It's a disaster up there.
It's just not famously liberal. That's all.
No, Seattle is way more famously liberal than California
the West Coast. But over here, we don't hear about it at all. Seattle, that's the place with the weird restaurant that spins around.
Well, Seattle is the birth of the grunge movement, and it's fallen really bad.
What the hell is the brunch movement?
Grunge movement, Nirvana. But anyways,
okay.
Yeah, I visited more than a dozen locations, but it was the image of Mount Yotei reflected across Lake Toya that inspired awe. I sat there for 2 hours just staring at the mountain. Connell said of the active stratovolcano, which is similar in appearance to Mount Fuji, and it was stunning. And Fox said another highlight was Shiritoko National Park on the northeastern tip of Hokkaido, which he visited to record nature sounds for his audio team. And inside the park, you have to watch a video telling you about the dangers of bears. Fox said, being in this incredibly beautiful park with jagged cliffs and water, yet all the time being aware there were dangerous bears, was electrifying. And we strive to bring that into the video game, that feeling of danger. And if you've read Golden Kamuy, you know about the dangers that Tsukamoto experienced in Hokkaido. Not just bears, though, there were criminals up in there too. But you saw the Ainu culture in Golden Kamuy, and it's very, very interesting, like with the cuisine specifically, because that's what it focused on a lot. But that's why I'm very curious how they're going to go about that. Are they going to go kind of the Golden Kamuy route and include cooking up in there? Are they going to have the conflict between Japanese and Ainu? It's going to be very interesting to see how they handle this.
I can tell you that they have taken a lot more care in the environment than Ubisoft did. When we were watching the trailer here, one thing that struck me most importantly was that they were not attempting to show off their architecture. You saw a bit of it bleeding into the background here as they're riding across. You see up in the mist over here on the mountain as they're riding across the golden pasture. But these are those wide open vistas that Rian Johnson, if you prefer, was going on about with The Last Jedi out there in the salt flats.
Yeah.
This right here is what they're doing. They're doing these wide open vistas, and I have a feeling that has to do with all the flack that Ubisoft has gotten with trying to replicate that period of time, because there's a lot of overlap with China during that time. So, I'm pretty sure that this has more to do with Ubisoft getting a lot of flack for their architecture. So they're trying to keep this wide open field so it feels more anime-y, I guess.
Well, also at the time, Hokkaido was a lot more rural as well.
That's true.
So that's why I'm this totally fits. It's not as developed. So this it totally fits the time period.
Well, and I'm all for it. I'm not questioning anything about it. It's been a really interesting journey learning about this game through our audience here on Bounding, who have routinely compared it to Ubisoft's attempts with Assassin's Creed Shadows. So we
well, a lot of people are concerned about like the voice actress, and I'm just like, I'm looking at this, the voice actress being oh my god, Erica Ishii, I think her name is, and they're all flipping out because of the pronouns in her bio, and having a shaved head because they do the mocap for for their face, and I'm just like, dude, that's the English voice actor. No one cares about English dubs anymore. We'll get to Daima in a minute. But mostly people in Japan, Japanese viewers / Japanese gamers, and the majority of, or not the majority, I said, a good chunk of Western gamers don't even play with the English dub anymore. We've all switched to like Japanese dub. So that's why I'm like, you guys are flipping out for nothing.
Well, and as Spencer points out here, personal ideology matters so long as they keep it out of the game, and that's that's how our country functioned before. If you don't like recall, these people with extreme ideas didn't just fall from the sky one day. At least I hope they didn't. So, they were here all along. It's just now in our more connected society, they've taken advantage of that interconnectedness and built themselves into the culture. Whereas before, they were just like you and me, wandering around, paying their taxes, going to work every day. So this is what we're faced with, though, is that people a long time ago used to leave their ideologies at the door and just do their job. It would astonish you to know that people on the Toy Story team probably shared commonalities with ideologies with Mao, but they didn't bring that into Toy Story. They wanted to tell a cute story about a bunch of toys grappling with their boy growing up.
Yeah. And the other thing too is that people think like the voice actors have like influence in the writing. No, they don't.
No,
don't you dare knock that over. I don't know why he keeps doing that. Every time.
He knows. When you put the headphones on, he's like, all right, time to shit up. But he just sees that. Yeah, so Nina says, mostly any game depending on setting, like how I play Yakuza series, always in Japanese because it literally follows Japanese mafia of shirtless men fist fighting each other. But I do want to point out that there is I don't have it brought up just at the moment, but there is a Batman versus the Yakuza League that's coming out. And we talked about it on Saturday, and I am saying this. I thoroughly expect there to be a dance-off scene in it. I don't know how they can tell like a modern Japanesey thing without at least Nightwing ending up with like a dance-off with like one of the Japanese Yakuza twisted versions of the Rogues Gallery.
Oh, okay. So before I forget, because I was looking for this, because I have like the full thing of why Ghost of Yotei is going in this direction, because I know a lot of people are pissed that there's no Ghost of Tsushima sequel. A lot of people have been saying that there's that there was no need for it, that Jin's story was for the most part completed. But what the communications manager said was, when we set out to make a new Ghost game, we wanted to maintain the core pillars established in Ghost of Tsushima, playing as a wandering warrior in feudal Japan, offering freedom to explore at your own pace and highlighting the beauty of the world. And we also wanted to continue to innovate to create something fresh but familiar. And we looked at, beyond Jin Sakai's story and the island of Tsushima and shifted our focus to the idea of the ghost instead. So, like an anthology kind of situation. At Sucker Punch, we love origin stories, and we wanted to explore what it could mean to have a new hero wearing a ghost mask and uncovering a new legend. This led us to Ghost of Yotei, a new protagonist and a new story to unfold, and a new region of Japan to explore. And then here we go. This is what it said here in terms of where it's taken the setting. So this is in 1603 specifically. So this is, again, 300 years after Ghost of Tsushima. It's set in the lands surrounding Mount Yotei, which is a towering peak in the heart of Ezo, an area of Japan known as Hokkaido in present day. And this area was outside of the rule of Japan and filled with sprawling grasslands, snowy tundras, and unexpected danger. So yeah, basically that's just why you're not seeing architecture. And it's a far cry from the organized samurai clans who lived in Tsushima, and it's setting for an original story we can't wait to tell. And then in the New York Times, this is what they said. Ghost of Yotei is a story of underdog vengeance that followed Atsu as she moved through the natural landscape, including sprawling grasslands and snowy tundras. And the devs said that players would have a greater control over her story than in the previous game. So they're going for more of an open world type of feel here. And considering the setting, being in a rural setting like this, that's going to be very interesting to see what they do. Again, with the Ainu specifically. And that's what, that's what a few Japanese Twitter users were concerned about. It's just how they're going to handle that.
They may just skip right over it. You know, they're allowed that because they're not trying to create a authentic, fact-based version of this time period, unlike Ubisoft that continues to tell us this. So,
but what do you think about them doing like an anthology style kind of thing for Ghost of, instead of just doing like a straight up sequel, like what some people wanted?
Well, I don't think it's a bad idea. The setting that they created for Ghost of Tsushima is, you know, very valuable. A supernatural samurai setting with like a spiritualist aesthetic to it isn't going to hurt anybody's feelings. That's what you expect out of a samurai story. One of the games, like I was just asked here by Sakura Mita here. That's Samurai Warriors. I did play that, but it was with my first girlfriend, so I don't remember much about it, if you know what I mean. So, but these kind of games, like I played Onimusha and stuff like that. These games that kind of were set in that feudalist time when the government wasn't exactly rock solid. And because again, it's like the Wild West of that time period. So there's a lot of creative law giving going on. So it's a great place to tell compelling stories. And they're not trying to weave something fake here. So I absolutely believe that they could take over Assassin's Creed, their place in the spooky, alternate history, cool setting kind of thing. Especially if they kept it to just the 1,500 years before the end of the imperial reign. I mean, they could run right up into the modern era if they wanted to, but it would probably be best to cut it off before the Dutch arrived.
Yeah, that's what people were saying in, I think it was in Sucker Punch's comment section. I saw quite a few people say that this could be like an Assassin's Creed situation, and then eventually they could go back to Jin's story, because they wanted to see like the Mongol invasion. See Jin face the Mongols. So it's like, yeah, you could maybe do that eventually.
Zach the Unknown says, I know Rev has thoroughly covered the AC Shadows ordeal amidst everything else involving Ubisoft. It wouldn't surprise me if Ghost of Yotei becomes next on his list, depending on how things play out. Well, it's worth covering because if it goes great, I mean, you want to be on top of that because, man, do we need a hit as far as like, Western-based Japanese stories go, because we are really ticking them off, okay? We're really messing with them. It's not just Ubisoft. So...
But man, the response... Well, the ratio, the like-to-dislike ratio on YouTube is just... It is, like, reverse in terms of like-to-dislikes. It is insane. And then the Japanese response is like... the complete opposite too. The other thing, like where it's like a complete positive for Yotei, and they're excited for Yotei. And Assassin's Creed, no, they are not. But this is the
Have
U.S.
a look for yourselves.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that like to dislike ratio.
So it is. It's almost flipped. Although it's like flipped times 5 for Assassin's Creed Shadows. But that's I don't know. That's where we're at. Take a look at that. That's pretty messy right there.
But in regards to Assassin's Creed Shadows, I know we're probably going to get to the statement in a little bit. They did not tweet that statement on Ubisoft Japan. It's still not up there.
Wow.
They only have the Tokyo Game Show cancellation. So that was like, I don't know why they didn't do that, because they did it for the other statements that came out, but they didn't do it for that, which I thought was really weird.
Wow. That is quite a coinkydink, isn't it? That is quite a coinkydink.
Mm-hmm. Well, the timing of all this is so interesting. And then you've got the investigation now going on from the board of directors. And I'm just like, wait, the board of directors, I think they said they were investigating mainly for Outlaws, but I'm just like, dude, you're not gonna investigate the fact that Ubisoft violated copyright infringement, or like did all this cultural bastardization and pissed off the Japanese your Japanese player base, and I think violated one of what was it? It was like a CESA guidelines, which was to not violate like cultural oh my god, what was it? Or to respect culture and shit like that. Something I don't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, like it's not pretty what Ubisoft is doing.
Well, we'll see what happens with it, Bayona. I want to believe that they've got something up their sleeve to explain what all this is about, but you know, even if they don't, if she's a competent protagonist, that it won't be a problem. Like Aloy, the original Aloy, not the one that got turned into the Ham Planet in a remaster they're obsessed with. We'll talk about that too. But in Horizon Zero Dawn, Aloy is a perfectly capable protagonist. She does the Spider-Man thing. She quips and laughs her way through situations she's got to think through, keep her enemy busy. And so it's kind of fun to follow her through her adventure. If they kind of create a character that's compelling, maybe not sassy like Aloy, but compelling in that way that she earns her strong, independent woman status as opposed to just getting it like that K, whatever that character is from Star Wars Outlaws, is just anointed with her strong, independent status. It's different. And this is why we have a problem with Naue, is that she's just plopped there. Ta-da, this is a female ninja in a time period when that wasn't exactly a thing. Furthermore, aren't they called kunoichi, not ninja?
Isn't I think so.
Yeah, so there again, there's Ubisoft trying to bend the rules again.
Ghost of Yotei, it just doesn't seem like that. Like you look at Nate Fox's body of work, and before Ghost of Tsushima, he directed the Sly trilogy and Infamous. Like, you could say DEI all you want, but if you've played Infamous, if you played the Sly Cooper series, I just don't see it. I don't.
Well, the DEI situation gets a little murkier because, according to the Sony State of Play, there will be a collaboration between Nier Automata and Stellar Blade, two games that feature very curvy protagonists.
Well, it makes sense considering the directors were buddy, so I'm not surprised by that.
Well, sure, it came as a surprise to a lot of people outside of that, though. Who were kind of thinking that this was the end of the road for Stellar Blade after such an uphill battle to get released. So,
I'm still people are still pissed that they, even after I knew it was going to happen too. That petition that was sent there, it didn't do anything. The game is still censored. Those costumes, whether you like it or not, they are still censored unless you have the physical release. And don't put the day one patch in, whether you like it or not. These are facts. They're still the game is still censored. You could tell me till the cows come home. It's like, oh, there's all these uncensored. No, they promised the game would be uncensored. Period. It's still censored, and we still have no explanation for it. with Lollipop Chainsaw, we got full transparency on what was going on. We got the explanation from Yasuda. We didn't get any of that with Stellar Blade. So that's all I wanted was an explanation on what was going on with the Day 1 patch, what led up to it, why are the costumes censored, and can those costumes just come in like DLC?
Well, that's just it, is that we find out that those costumes maybe weren't censored because of the revealing factor behind them. We find out that they could have been stolen fashion designs or fashion designs that were used from licensed patents. And so they had to change. And that's the more annoying thing, is that the developers knew this. If this is the case, let's say that it is.
If this is the case.
Right. That they knew this and did not disclose to the people that, no, this has nothing to do with boobies and butts and curves and things like that. This has everything to do with us not checking our sources on where we copied the bunny suit from. That's all.
But they didn't.
So,
that's the thing, though. If it was the case, they would have been straightforward with it and say, look, this is a patent issue. And
I would hope so.
Yeah.
But I don't know the Koreans as well as I study the Japanese, let's put it that way. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, this whole thing was just shady. And I've talked to people in the video game industry. Like, if you follow him, Bonsam is really, really knowledgeable on the Japanese video game industry. And he straight up said, like, they could, if this was just a simple, if they wanted to, uncensor the costume, restore this, censor costumes, to being uncensored from version 1.00, they could just do it via DLC. It's there on the physical disc. So the option is there. They just didn't do it.
Well, and speaking of censored, something curious happened with the Palworld PS5 release. They had to make a note about the State of Play announcement on the PS5 release announcement that, unfortunately, it's not going to be for release in Japan just yet, and they don't have an idea when that's going to be. However, they also neglected to really point out why that was the case, and I have a feeling it has to do with the lawsuit.
Yeah, that's my guess too. It's got to be with the Nintendo patent lawsuit.
And, if you're not aware, we do not want to get hit with all the copyright music. So, if you're not aware, Palworld is being sued by Nintendo, the Pokemon Company, and Nintendo for the infringement of their spherical throwing and capturing patent that they have with video games. In Japan, patenting other companies out of the use of certain functionality in games has been a thing for a while. It was, I already forgot who it was now. It wasn't Sony. It wasn't Nintendo that did this.
I think it was Konami or...
Konami, right. Konami was the one that went and patented playing the character in the start screen. So you could play around in the start screen before you hit start, and that ended up being patented by them, so it disappeared from other game companies' functionality. Likewise, Japan, Nintendo and their Pokemon Company patented the use of a spherical capture device in a video game, and now Palworld has infringed upon that with their spherical capture device. So, or at least this is the claim that Nintendo's making. It is a ball, it does capture things, and it is in the video game, so that's 3 for 3. But what it boils down to is that Palworld can simply put out a DLC that is just, hey, by the way, or not a DLC, just a patch, that just says, hey, by the way, all those neat little blue spheres on your hip, they're now triangles. They're now pyramids. They're now ovals, and that's that. It's that simple.
But yeah, I think the main theory is that, I think this is primarily caused by Palworld, partnering up with the Aniplex and Sony Music, because of that joint venture that happened. Because if this was like a smaller indie dev, which they have claimed to be, and that pissed off a lot of Japanese gamers, then, and even some independent devs I saw too were kind of annoyed by that. I think it would be a different story. I think Nintendo would have left them alone if this was just like a really small indie dev doing this.
Well, and this is what we're looking at too, is that this does appear to be like sort of a reach, like an attempt to scare Palworld into, you know, ceasing their pursuit of a Pokemon-like visual aesthetic going forward. You know, and it definitely feels like they had to dig for this to go after them. And so this is something that's intended to come out with like a clear victory for Nintendo. I think it's just intended to scare Palworld. Like they wiped that Pocket Monster reissue thing in China completely off the map. So
well, they are a lot smaller than Palworld is.
Well, and they lifted the Team Rocket thing. They went 1-for-1 with their copy. They didn't even file off the serial numbers. They completely went 1-for-1 with it. So that I understand, right? That one. But they do allow quite a few of these monster capture tamer sort of games to go out into the world that do bear a striking resemblance to Pokemon. They do let this happen all the time. What appears to be the biggest tipping point for them is the use of things that are otherwise irreconcilably Pokemon. So if your lead advertising character is a little yellow mouse, they're going to have a problem with you. If your protagonist has to fight characters with a big R on their chest, they're probably going to fight you. You know, they're probably going to come after you. Yeah. It seems to be if you just skirt around what they consider to be Pokemon mythos, you're fine. Because again, they're not attacking Palworld because of the similarity of the character.
No, because that would be copyright infringement. And I think people are misconstruing copyright infringement and patent infringement.
Right.
This, like what Cider was talking about, that's copyright infringement. And this is not what that is. This is patent. Patent is like more so the mechanics.
Yep. Well, and Troll, you're right to think that. It's not like they didn't intend for that effect, but this is allowed in the market. It's kind of like what I tell people when I'm developing my Power Rangers brand. I have the rescue soldiers that I'm creating, and they are visually pretty similar to the Power Rangers. They have suits that come in different colors, light armor, a helmet that features a motif. They don't have giant robots. They don't transform with a morpher, but they kind of behave like the Power Rangers. They respond to danger, and they organize themselves as teams. However, according to brand confusion law and the research I've done surrounding what the Hasbro brand controls for their IP, for their intellectual property and their trademarks, I'm not infringing on anything. You can have multicolored team members with helmets on and not bother the Power Rangers brand. They've made very clear what they consider infringements on their brand, and it's the morpher and giant robot thing. So you just avoid that, you're fine. Similarly, Pokemon apparently has a okay time with you making cute little monsters that look an awful lot like theirs, but when you drift into what they consider their mythos, like the Pokeball, they make a lot of money off of those. It's a neat little keychain. It's a neat little jewelry box. You can hide little Pokemon dolls inside of it. Even the gacha pods kind of look like Pokeballs sometimes. They have the plastic mold of a Pokeball. So they're very, very concerned with that stuff. But outside of that, they seem not to get too uppity about what the characters look like.
Yeah, character like otherwise they'd be going after like Monster Rancher and like Monster Hunter and Metabot. Yeah, they'd be all over it.
Oh man, do you imagine like the fight they would have with
and Yokai Watch?
Yokai Watch. I was just gonna say Yokai Watch. That would be endless between them over that. But again, like this is an adorable little game, and it's come a long way, and it wasn't an indie dev studio 100%, but it was certainly wasn't a mainstream studio.
No.
What we can appreciate from this is that they've demonstrated to us just how close you can get to copyright infringement before you do get toasted. So, you know, now we know. Now you know.
Do we want to get to the big thing, which is Assassin's Creed Shadows?
Well, sure. I was hoping the guys would roll in here pretty quick. So,
before we get, well, do we want to talk about the Japanese response while we wait for them?
Sure. I'll dig that up right here. I've got it pulled up, so we'll hop right over to that.
From what I've seen with Japan's response, is that they have been calling Ubisoft racist. Mm-hmm. They are one thing I've seen is there's the in response to the Tokyo Game Show getting canceled. They've been using a Demon Slayer panel where Tanjiro is calling Muzan a coward for running away from his responsibilities, which I think is kind of funny. The other thing they've been saying in the comments in the QRTs of like Famitsu and stuff like that is that there was one actually that I think it was in this one, but I can't remember, is that they're noticing in terms of the delay that it's around Black History Month.
Yep.
So yeah, maybe it's putting my tinfoil hat on here. Yeah, maybe they did that so the Japanese can't call them racist.
I don't know about that. I would think that they want to market it to the West using that, if that was the case.
Well, the West is still going to call them racist.
Well, maybe, we will, obviously, we know what's up, but this is another push into like that African American identity. That's a good way to put it, because this is what they forced on Yasuke, Yasuke, as I call him, because he's not. This isn't the man that lived and breathed and walked the earth. They've stolen his name and turned him into a clown for the sake of making him interesting to them, not you and me. Now we find out that they've smashed together about 700 years worth of Japanese history and various Asian history from the South China Sea, just rammed it all into this game at once because the Sengoku era wasn't interesting enough for them. Like, literally, the central figure to this ends up dead at the end of the story that they're intending to tell about Yasuke's time in Japan. I don't know how much more interesting times can get than that, but hey, call me crazy. I just, now, but the beautiful thing is that it's set to come out, right? It's set to come out on February 14th. That's right. It's going to come out on Valentine's Day and no longer here in November. So for you, coming home to your beloved, bring them the gift of murder. That's right. And color red is also the color of blood, I guess, right? So there you go. For this Valentine's Day, bring home the gift of murder.
I totally forgot. We got to talk about the good news for Daima.
Yeah, we'll probably have that when the other guys show up too.
Okay, good. I was like, wait a minute, I totally forgot about that till just now.
Well, this tilts over into something I kind of skipped over the other day, and I wanted to take a minute.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it with the other guys when they get here.
The Tory Gate. Yeah, I wasn't sure about the Tory Gate, like if it was specifically tied to Nagasaki or not, because we've seen Tory Gates. They're all over Japan. They've been in Japan throughout history, so it's like, are we sure that this is what that's what they're specifically referencing? I wasn't sure, so that's why I asked my Japanese followers, are you if they're sure about that, if they're sure that this was accurate or not, because I want to make sure that we're providing the correct information.
Well, here's the thing, okay? Let's say that it isn't. Let's say that it's not about the Nagasaki one-legged Tory Gate, okay? Let's say that it's just one of the damaged ones from history. The trouble is that is not how people are going to receive it, and Ubisoft is obsessed with this. They have sensitivity readers, for goodness sake. None of their Japanese staff said, hey, wait a minute, the most famous one-legged Tory Gate is the one that survived the Nagasaki bombing. Maybe we don't do that. Maybe we just put a regular Tory Gate behind them and they just look really reverent about it and not put their butts on it. But again, it's hard to explain to people in the West who just kind of see the aesthetic of the Tory Gate and think, oh, that's very Japanesey. Well, no, the thing is that it's a religious symbol. It's a religious structure. It's blasphemy to interact with it in this way and to like, I wouldn't say like, I don't know, mock it, but this is not showing reverence for a Tory Gate being damaged. And for example, imagine instead of being a Tory Gate, this was a damaged cross, right?
Yeah.
This was Naoe plunking her butt on the corner of a broken cross while Yasuke stands in front of it all bemused and I don't know. It looks a little like lobotomized, honestly. His eyes are going in different directions. But this is the thing, is that it's not smart. This is not smart, especially when they're already on thin ice. What would have looked better for them if they really wanted to do something about this was to have the actual like scale representations of these two characters, and they're praying at the bottom of this broken Torii gate. That would have been much, much more. Or Yasuke is sitting beneath it and he is leaning against it and he is looking up at it, like in a way it's like, why is this broken? How can I help? Kind of a look of expectation of where he's supposed to belong beneath it. And that would have been a much, much more reverent way to handle using a broken Torii gate, whether they meant the one in Nagasaki or not. The trouble is that's the most famous one. Don't do that. It's like we're gonna put a bunch of Assassin's Creed characters distributed in the rubble of 2 buildings in New York.
Yeah.
I wonder what 2 buildings is it gonna be?
That's the other thing too. Is it would be like, and this is I'm gonna reference Yotei for a second, and I'm gonna reference Golden Kamui for a sec. Actually, this is a better way to do it. Is with Golden Kamui, what they did is they had an Ainu consultant, Ainu cultural consultant, to make sure that everything was accurate to the T, because they know how sensitive the community is, and also they just wanted it to be like accurate, just
as they should, be
respectful.
If you're gonna do it right.
And they brought the that same consultant onto the live action adaptation for Golden Kamui, and also the mangaka co-wrote the script too. So it's just, so when you see Golden Kamui, you're like, oh, I'm actually learning something for one thing about the culture. And that and like you look at what Ubisoft is doing, and it's just like, where are you getting this knowledge from? Where are your actual
Wikipedia.
Consultants? They said it wasn't Wikipedia, though. They stressed it wasn't.
Yeah, maybe Wikipedia contributors, though, right? Not Wikipedia directly. But and again, like we're just showing you this toy. There's multiple pictures of it. You can go take a look at it. But this is the actual Torii gate that survived. This is not a replica. It's a stone Torii gate that was destroyed in the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings that were carried out by the United States. I posted the original photo of it here from the Australian War Memorial. I'll go over to that website and I'll bring that up for you guys.
But something, and I think we'll get to it in a little bit, but something that's really frustrated not just the Japanese, but it's really frustrated me is, again, Ubisoft, through all this fuckery, still has not addressed any of this. Not the copyright infringement, not the Chinese art lettering and stuff, and the architecture, not the Thomas Lockley stuff. None of it.
I do want to point out one thing. They did address the copyright infringement. Ubisoft Japan came out and admitted to the theft, and in the same post, they said they were going to sell the stolen stuff anyway at a premium price.
No, I meant since then.
No. Just left it alone. They
haven't done anything since then, and it was only Ubisoft Japan. It wasn't the main branch either that did it. It was only on Ubisoft Japan. So
so here we go, and now here's the story behind that gate. So this gate is the one famous one-legged Torii gate, the Shinto shrine at Sano, Nagasaki. The gate was 800 meters from the epicenter of the blast that destroyed one of the legs, leaving the rest of the gate standing. The photographer, then TX-3350 Private Alan Clifford Chick, 240 Infantry Battalion, was a prisoner of war, Camp 14 Nagasaki, at the time of the blast, and he took the picture. Okay? And that's... Again, I get it that they didn't set out to be like, oh, how can we tick off the Japanese by putting a broken Torii gate in our toys? I guarantee you they didn't sit down with that explicit knowledge. But whoever is in charge of being their cultural expert, whoever is their historical expert, right? History expert, that guy, gal, team, whoever they are, they need to be fired in a hurry. In a hurry. I don't know how you get there. it's again, I don't mean to keep bringing up the 9/11 references, but it's that on the nose. There's only one Tory gate in Japan that is infamous for being the one-legged Tory gate. You just don't do that. You just don't tempt fate. That's why I have a rule with these people. I talk to a lot of indie creators, comic book creators, video game people, all this stuff. I tell them, don't tempt fate. The less variables for failure that you can bring into your path, the better. Don't invite fate to come and wring your neck. It'll be there in minutes with bells on. If this was the only thing, it'd be different, but it's not, right? It's a compounding thing with them. It's a compounding attitude that they have about Japanese history, that it's just a toy box, that they can just do whatever they want with it, that they can make up things with it, that they can just decide that Japanese historical Japanese historical figures are gay. Are optionally gay. If you want them to be gay, they could be gay. Why not? Who's going to really be, if they're dead, who's going to be offended?
Notice how this is the complete opposite of what's happening at Sucker Punch.
Right, exactly. Where Sucker Punch has sat down and said, like, we're going to do our best to represent something that's not seen before. You don't see a lot of games that prioritize the countryside of ancient Japan. You see them wanting to show off the architecture of it. Jacob's here.
Hey, I'm just picking fish and candy out of my teeth. How you guys doing?
Oh, you met that lady. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about this astonishing lapse in judgment from Ubisoft, one of the latest in their quest to prove Japan wrong in all of their assumptions, I guess.
And all of their wokeness, that the woke is right and they are just wrong. Well, right. The French just hate, like, I don't know what is going on with certain French people up in France and in Quebec, but they really want to prove how Japan sucks, apparently, and how racist they are.
Those mother knuckers.
It really feels like that Ubisoft is set in to teach the Japanese people a lesson. It really feels like this corporation is going to go down swinging, trying to make this whole nation pay for something.
Well, I mean, Japan better watch out because, their record isn't very good in war, especially international conflicts. So,
well, when the U.S. is involved anyway, when we're not, the Japanese are pretty formidable. Well, they ran China for a while, man. They just went across. They were like, we're on the island, and we're like, screw you. We're taking over half that continent, and then they did for 200 years.
Well, also the other thing to keep in mind is that, like, even the French government, they love anime and manga over there. So if Ubisoft pisses off Japan, yeah, you're going to have the French government pissed off at you. For fuck's sakes, the French mint made a Naruto coin. Like, they put out like a public statement for when Akira Toriyama died. The French president did.
Yep.
Like, I mean, they are serious over there.
Yeah, that's great. You're gonna ban them. You want to ban? You're banned from Japan. That's hilarious. But as you can see, people on both. Oh yes, that's gonna be my wallpaper right there. That's beautiful. I'm gonna leave that up for a little while. That's beautiful right there. But this is the thing: is that when I put out the video today about the announcement of them running away and canceling the game until February, I said that maybe they're going to go back and make a DLC you have to pay for that is Yamauchi Taka. That they got to Japan and Japan was so sour on this that they are forcing themselves to go back and build a DLC that puts this character in as the third protagonist. That makes Yasuke the heavy hitter, Naoe the one that does the teeny tiny little super special missions, and then Taka being a blade specialist of some sort. And that'll be how they balance everything out and be like, oh, psych, yeah, they were just to get you talking about the game. Taka was meant to be the main one all along, guys. That's why we're making you pay extra for it.
I was fooling y'all.
Yeah. We were only pretending to be brain damaged, you know?
Well, they said it was going to be a free expansion for pre-orders, for new pre-orders.
Right? And so it makes me wonder now. It makes me wonder because it's just enough time to get a motion cap actor and a voice actor together and have them do a bunch of fancy tricks in a gymnasium. It's just enough time. I don't know. What's worse, to say C-Game or Ghost of Tsushima going girl boss?
I don't think it's going girl boss though. I don't know why people are thinking that. I don't think it's girl boss.
Even if it does, Ghost of Tsushima at least proved that an American development group can put together a game that doesn't piss off the Japanese. So even if they failed to do that a second time, they did it once already.
So is people saying that it's girl boss because of the character model and the voice of the character, or
yeah?
I know that people have been fighting about that like all day.
Yeah, that's what they're saying, that because of the voice actor having pronouns in their bio, and I'm just like, dude, the majority, all Japanese gamers and probably a good chunk of Western gamers don't even play it with the English dub. They play with in the Japanese dub. They don't care. They really don't. And also, the English voice actor has no influence on the script. So, like, it's like, who fucking cares?
They do. They care a lot. But
and then I have more people. Well, as I said earlier, I have more the people bitching, like, they don't pay attention and realize it's the same director from Ghost of Tsushima that's doing this. It's like, dude, you have the Sly Cooper and infamous director who worked on Ghost of Tsushima directing this. Like, you have no reason to flip out.
Well, and one of the things I want to mention that kind of gets lost in all of this is that on the ground in Japan, most people don't know Assassin's Creed at all. It's not a celebrated franchise. It's not something gigantic. It's not. There are people that are aware of it. It's not something like hanging out in a like a Goodwill somewhere. It is a franchise over there that has like a following, but it's nothing to like compare to like Sonic or Mario or any of the other cross Western games. Mostly Japan is invested in Japanese domestic made games or Korean games. That's most, I think Black Myth Wukong is the largest selling, no, Genshin Impact is the largest selling Chinese based game there. And then Black Myth is the second behind it. Chinese based, not the biggest selling games, but the biggest Chinese based selling games. Most of their gaming market is domestic. And so when we talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows and the response of Japanese gamers to this, we're also talking about a very niche group of people in Japan who are one or the other. They're either people who like this franchise, who don't appreciate how it's abusing their homeland, or they're history aficionados who don't appreciate this game doing what it's doing to their homeland. And that's kind of what we're dealing with. You're not going to have the Japanese evening news talking about this until the game actually lands and starts, it becomes a topic of conversation then that the news can report on. Right now, it's speculation what the game will contain. We know what it'll contain. They've explained it outright, what's happening in it. However, the news media needs to wait for people on the ground like your average mom and pop to find out about it, and that'll take until the game comes out. At that point, like everyone's going to be talking about it. I wouldn't say everyone in Japan, but a great deal of people in Japan will be talking about it because it's not traditional Japanese history, and yet it's been marketed like that. So it'll catch quite a few people's attention on that front. But until then, it's just weird American people who are obsessed with America talk. It's like those people that were carrying the Trump statue around with the laser eyes. You saw that, right? 68% of voting Japanese like Trump, but I would guess less than 12% of them want to go out in the streets and show it. So that's what you're dealing with. There are probably people who are aware that Ubisoft is an abusive company, but they're not too clear on what that is just yet.
Hey, tell somebody in Japan to get on making the Donald Trump MAGA anime and go forward with that.
Well, Trump has been in quite a few manga. So.
Well, there was Tim Lim's Magadamia, which was a parody of My Hero Academia. So, why not? Just take that and do it. He's Walmite in that. That's his name is Walmite in that one. And that was
but then again, every time I hear that name, like I think to myself of the old what is it, Michael Fassbender memes. Like, no, I want the real Japanese.
Oh, that's right. So an actual Japanese actor portraying Donald Trump. Sure, why not? That's great. Let's just do that.
Did you see? I just learned about
Donald
this today.
Trump.
Did you know there is a Japanese, like, I guess it's like a dramedy series, but it's basically about a guy who's a really big Columbo fan who just cosplays and acts like Columbo and solves mysteries like that. Like, it's
amazing.
And they take it it's completely he doesn't, it's not like, oh, you are Columbo reincarnated or you are the new Gen Columbo. It's just like
that time I got hit by a truck and became Columbo.
That's exactly what it is. So like I can see that happening. Like the time I got hit by a truck and became the 45th president of the United States. Come on.
I mean, there's Right On King, which is the Putin troll isekai. Oh my god, that manga is everything. I would love, and I said this when I need to catch up on Right On King. I would love to see a Trump troll isekai series. Like, that would be the coolest thing ever.
See, here's the problem: is like I think that would be Trump as regardless of what you think of him, whether you support him, whether you hate him, it doesn't matter. I think we can all objectively admit that, whether on purpose or unintentionally, the man is funny. Like, everything the man does,
got that riz.
He's got that aura, as the kids say, right? So if you had somebody who just wrote a Donald Trump series that wasn't making fun of him per se, but just what would Trump actually do in a situation like this, it would be the best-selling manga of all time. Goblins, I don't know what this little goblin guy is. I mean, I knew weird people back home. I talked to the Democrats, but I never met a little goblin like this. Like, it would be fantastic. I would read.
You are my favorite goblin. Look at your hair. It's like my hair. You are Goblin Trump, right on my shoulder. Let's go.
They didn't want to give me any credit for defeating the Demon King. That's okay. I did it anyway. I'm still the greatest hero in the land.
Because I'm that guy.
Yeah, because I'm that guy. I'm that hero.
Max level Trump. There it is. There's the title. Max level Trump.
Goodness.
Oh my god.
There's the title.
I really want this.
Max level Trump.
But will it be as good as Right On King? I don't know, because that manga is just, if you've read Right On King, you know exactly what I'm talking about. On how peak it is.
Well, we're gonna give it a run for its money. I'd be up for it. That's like I'm so enthralled with this concept. I can already guarantee you that for the next 3 months, Cider and I in our DMs are going to be shooting back ideas about this. I already know.
Absolutely. Yep. I'm already tracking down an artist, but
I'm already running the scenarios through in my head.
We are past time to start 01 though, so we'll be returning to the Assassin's Creed Shadows discussion with more in-depth analysis. So we'll be right back after this brief new intro.
Wednesday night and bustin' makes me feel good. I am happy to be here, everyone.
Can't keep running away. Can't keep running away.
After 15 years, Stephanie Nadolny is back. God, it feels good to be a Toonami kid.
I forgot the sparkling cider. I can't do a toast with the sparkling cider. I'm sorry, everybody. It's my fault. I ruined your life again.
One job the entire night.
Yeah, it's fair. I forgot we were supposed to do a toast too. Maybe as we go on, we'll close out the stream with one because
we'll figure out something. Get some DoorDash apple cider.
Because man, Ubisoft, I want to say it was nice knowing you, but it kind of really was not. It between Ubisoft, all of you, it couldn't have happened to a nicer company. Let's put it that way. But yes, everyone, we are finally back. We have officially kicked off this week's episode of the 01 stream. Obviously, you guys were hanging out with Cider and Nerdigans and Jacob for a little bit before we kicked off, discussing some Assassin's Creed Shadows, some Genshin Impact, and all the craziness that goes in there. I don't know how you deal with it every week, Nerdigans. I see like one post from a Genshin Impact fan, and I immediately start campaigning to open the schools back up. Like I can't deal with them. But yes, we have a lot to talk about this week. This is a huge, insane week, as Cider and everybody was breaking down. Ubisoft is up in flames. Assassin's Creed Shadow looks like it's going to be a complete disaster. Right before we went on stream, I was wrapping up an article about the Acolyte. It is the gift that keeps on giving. And yeah, we also have good news. The Stephanie Nadolny stuff is really incredible. I know some people are excited about that. Yeah, so let's kick it off. How are you guys all doing? What do you guys all want to talk about? What is happening?
Well, Nerdigans brought up a great point, and I wanted to make sure everybody was here for this because we do have a great announcement. We do have officially confirmed that the Dragon Ball Daima will have the return of the 90s and early 2000s American voice actor for Kid Goku.
This is the best news.
It's big news. So for those of you who don't remember, or honestly, if you watched Dragon Ball,
okay, so it was a show called Dragon Ball Z, right? It was a big thing in the 80s.
It was this big thing. They got people who shoot beams at each other. They got spiky hair. You might have seen it around some place.
There was some pink turd monster at some point. It got weird towards the end.
It got weird, but you know what? If you're a real one, you understand it. You roll with it. But yeah, so long story short, Stephanie Nadolny was if you watched Dragon Ball when you were a kid, you probably recognize her as the voice of Kid Goku, of Kid and Teen Gohan. She basically voiced both of those characters from when the series came over in the 90s to America and all the way through to 2010. Where
almost as long as Sean Schmemmel.
Almost as long as Sean Schmemmel. She was right there with them, Adult Goku and Kid Goku. So her last appearance ever as Kid Goku or in Dragon Ball period was this DS game called Dragon Ball Adventure or Dragon Ball Origins 2. I only specify the name because if anybody out there hasn't played the Dragon Ball Origins games, they're pretty good, like Dragon Ball, not Z, but like a Dragon Ball action adventure game that goes through all the red ribbon stuff. So check it out if you like that kind of stuff. But that was her last role. And so 2010 comes and passes and she's gone. She is replaced by, is it Colleen Clinkenbeard?
Yes.
Nerdigans? Is that who replaces her?
Yeah.
So very storied English dub actor, Colleen Clinkenbeard. She's currently the voice of Tails in the Sonic movies, like the live action ones. She came on, she took the voice of Kid Goku. Nobody really knew why. It was just sort of one of those things where around 2010, that was like when Kai was kicking off. So Funimation was shifting. Everybody sort of just presumed, it's just one of those things that happens in the shuffle. Either they wanted to go with somebody else or she didn't want to renew. Who knows? Either way, it is what it is. So we all kind of moved on. We missed her, but Colleen's doing a fine job as Kid Goku. I presume. I go for the Japanese dubs these days. So fast forward to 2019, in the middle of all of the Kick Vic stuff that's popping off, right? And Stephanie Nadolny gets an interview with a YouTube channel, or rather a YouTube channel gets an interview with her. and they talk about her career, what she's been doing since Dragon Ball. For those of you who watch cartoons still, there is a show that was made for Cartoon Network right before it died called O.K.K.O., which was about, it was sort of like an American, I don't want to say parody because it took everything seriously, but like an American riff on shonen tropes and all that sort of fun stuff. Very good, fun show. If you like Dragon Ball, you like anime, you'd probably enjoy it. She voiced the main character in that show with her kid Goku voice because that's what they wanted. They said, we remember you, bring her back. So that's where she was. They were discussing all that. And it eventually got to the topic of what happened? Where'd you go? And she revealed that her exit, and this is according to her, was twofold. On one hand, at the time, she had a very, very abusive ex-boyfriend who, when they broke up, he was going around and sort of harassing her employers and calling them, being like, she's an awful person, don't hire her, is she there, blah blah blah, sort of A, making her life a living hell, and B, just annoying the hell out of companies, and they don't want to deal with that. So that was one thing that she's like, I think that sort of killed my prospects. Nobody wanted to deal with that. The second element of it that she revealed, which is more relevant to what we all talk about here, and the reason I bring up Kick Vic, is according to her, the super cliquey nature of Funimation. So that would be Chris Sabat, Monica Rial, Jamie Marchi, Sean Schemmel to an extent, Damian Mills, all of them. Their cliquey nature sort of forced her out. She wasn't invited into the club for whatever reason. She didn't specify. But she believes that them being super cliquey, they just went, oh, you're not really our friend. We don't really care. So they pushed her out and brought in Clinkenbeard. So all that said, yeah, it's a really big moment to have her coming back. It's a little bit of cool nostalgia. It's a good sort of up yours to Chris Sabat and everybody for all the terrible stuff they've been they've been doing over at Funimation for forever. So I think this is pretty cool, right, Nerdigans?
Yeah, this is fantastic. It's something that because Geekdom 101 has been talking with Stephanie for a long time now. He interviewed her a while ago, and he said he's going to be interviewing her again soon. So we'll get some more info. But he was the one who initially revealed that this was happening, and because people were giving him hell for it, and they were like, "Oh, you're gonna cause her to lose her job." Well, he DM'd her about it, and she sent a message like, no, my job's fine. You don't have to worry about that. And because she gave him permission to mention it. That's why. And something else that he said was that she didn't realize how much love the fans had for her. Because there was if you were on Twitter when the news came out, there was so much love for her. Everyone was so happy to hear her voice, Kid Goku, once again. And something that was brought up, Geekdom brought this up earlier today, is that there's going to be two, from what I'm understanding, is there going to be two Kid Goku voices. We're going to hear Clinkenbeard's Goku, Kid Goku, and then for the Daima DLC that's coming, that's where you will get Stephanie's Goku, because there's Goku Mini and then there's Kid Goku, and they're going to have two different skill sets.
Wait.
Zero.
And Sparkling Zero. For a second there, I thought you were talking about Daima, and I'm like,
no, I meant Sparkling Zero. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That was on me for not listening.
Yeah.
So wait, did Geekdom say she's coming back for that?
Yeah. She said that she's doing the DLC for Sparkling Zero.
There isn't any DLC though.
Well,
did she just reveal something? Did she just break something? Oh my god, everybody! No, I'm presuming the DLC you're talking about is Daima related.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, because that's like the one thing they did not reveal during that big old here's everyone's all here, and there's no Daima yet.
Yeah, Daima's not out yet. No, the Daima DLC has not been confirmed as of yet, but yeah, the Kid Goku that you're going to see in Sparkling Zero, that is going to be Colleen.
That means so that means there's going to be two. That means there's going to be Kid Goku. Okay,
and Goku Mini.
and Goku Mini, and both of them are going to be her.
One's going to be Colleen, and
gotcha.
and Goku Mini will be would be Stephanie, and that's because
that makes sense. Yeah, because Kid Goku's already in it, like base roster. So that's what I was like. Wait, then do we already know? That's what I was wondering. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's because and it's the same thing with and what Geekdom said earlier today. It's the same thing with Piccolo and Vegeta. They're all called Mini and not Kid because they all have different skill sets compared to their Kid counterparts.
Yeah, they have their Super Saiyans and all their moves and stuff. Like that's one thing I noticed about the Daima trailer was that Goku went Super Saiyan and it didn't break his form, so they're doing the whole GT rigmarole again.
Yeah.
Which I'm here for. I'm not about it. Yeah, exactly. GT forever. 5 ever, if you will.
Boom, but para.
It can't be any worse than Super.
What, you don't like 7 tournament arcs in a row that all end with the good guys winning?
Mm-hmm. The number one complaint about Dragon Ball Z ever since Frieza is that we just create a new bullshit level of Super Saiyan to ascend to whenever it's time to fight the new villain of the week.
Oh, man. Okay. That has been the meme, and it is correct, and I'm not pushing against that, but I want to Nerdigans with Frieza. The Frieza Black stuff is probably the most the perfect microcosm of that problem, because in the last arc of Dragon Ball Super, they had a villain who got the Dragon Balls and said, "I wish to be the most powerful fighter in the universe," and Shenron went, "You got it." And so he became, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that was before the superhero arc. That was the Granola arc.
Yeah, that was the Granola arc.
You know what Dragon Ball Super is? Dragon Ball Super is basically the Vegas residency of Dragon Ball. That's what it is. Like, you just want to come back, at any age and see your old favorite. Just go spend $60 on a ticket. Go to the Palms and enjoy yourself. Eat a little shrimp cocktail and a mojito and be like, oh yeah, it's just like it was 30 years ago.
You go out and you look at this is the show your parents go to now. Right? Your parents are like, we're gonna go see, I don't know, who do parents? Kenny Chesney over at
we're leaving you with the babysitter tonight. Me and Mom are going down to
yeah, we're gonna go watch Dragon Ball. We'll see you later. But yeah, the last arc, the villain went, I want to be the most powerful, and they went, okay. And then Frieza got a new form and was stronger than him, and one-shotted him and saved the day. It was the most this is
you mean stronger than Gas. Yeah.
Stronger than
but
Gas.
there was a good. The thing is, I understood what it meant because remember what Vegeta.
I know the loophole makes sense. Frieza wasn't technically in the universe at the time of that wish. Okay, fine, but it's still new guy, new form, shows up, sweeps the floor, leaves, and I'm just like, come on, Toriyama.
Well, no, but there's that underlying theme for it too, because remember back in the Frieza arc, what Vegeta was trying to do? He was trying to wish to be immortal / the strongest being in the universe, so that way he could defeat Frieza and avenge his people. Because remember, he killed the Saiyans. You have the same thing going on with the Ceruleans in the case of Granola.
I'm not against. It's not that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not.
But yeah, I know, I understand. But I understand that. But I'm just saying there was a. It wasn't it's just because. No, there's a narrative purpose. But I understand.
But for me, from my perspective, is this. It's the fact that Frieza is still an integral part of the story in 2024 is the equivalent of Ash Ketchum still trying to be a Pokemon master. It's we're still doing this after all these years.
Well, they brought it back to life for the Tournament of Power. That's when I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's what Jacob's saying. We're at the Marvel level of things where it's
this is essentially the Marvel on Ice era.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Marvel on Ice. Did you ever Cider Nerdigans, Jacob, did you guys ever go to any of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Power
Let me
Rangers
stop you right there. I live in Maine, so no.
They were traveling.
They didn't come here.
They might have gone to Vermont.
Apparently arenas don't exist in Maine.
Well, they do, but they're so tiny that nobody comes here.
You're telling me that a community theater amphitheater in Maine couldn't get 7 out-of-work actors who were contracted by
You're telling me that Maine can't even get Sesame Street on Ice? Are we down that bad?
Not before they put in that Hollywood Slots big old open field concert. It's the largest one in New England. Now everybody comes there because they can seat 10,000 people out in a field or something.
Is that even a concert at that point? I feel like I would just.
It's like an encampment, really.
Yeah,
it's an encampment.
Oh, that's where all the hippies are going.
Yeah, and they walled it off with a bunch of fences, so you have to pay to get in, to hear the music, to see anything, blah, 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 who cares? But that's like the biggest performance space in New England, so everybody jumps on that. But that was like 2006 when they put that together.
Yeah.
I was 16. Up and until that point, there was nothing. Nobody came here. Like the Harlem Globetrotters sent one guy, one Harlem Globetrotter to talk about drugs, okay? That's all they could give us.
And it wasn't even the bald one. It was
It was the one we'd never heard of. He was like the bench warmer of them, you know? What do we got here? What's this?
Well, this is breaking news here. Everyone's starting to freak out about this. New York Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted in New York on federal criminal charges and expected to be arrested tomorrow.
Not surprised.
So he is the first mayor in New York City history to ever be charged while acting mayor of New York. So, yeah.
That's saying something.
That is really saying something. That means he fell out of favor with the wrong people really fast.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was weird yesterday because AOC took to Twitter and called for him to resign. I was like, why would she do that? Now you hear these news.
Why are you getting in on this? You got no stakes in this game.
Apparently, the order has been sent down. So, yeah, the New York City mayor on the verge of being arrested. I guess they're going to have to find a new puppet now. Now keep in mind, this was the guy who they tried to like when he was actually like running for the election. They tried to make it seem like, oh, I'm more of the more moderate Democrat because I'm tougher on crime than the other ones are. Then it was like the second he got elected, it was like, oh yeah, just let everyone in. I don't care much about.
You can beat police and be home for dinner.
Yep, dude, you won't even be in jail for an hour.
Like aside from, so yes, I agree with that. He is a really bad mayor, especially when it came to all of his crime policies that are currently making New Yorkers live in fear. But sort of on the same level as Trump, I'm sad that Adams is going to go to jail because that man is unintentionally the funniest mayor of all time. Like when he was like, "We're having a big press."
I hate rats.
The rats one was funny, but when he was like, "We're changing New York. Everybody come to this press conference tomorrow," and all these like New York reporters were gathered outside of a house, and they had New York State of Mind blaring over these big speakers, and Eric Adams comes out to show them, "Look, New Yorkers, you have garbage bins now," and he puts like one small bag of trash in the garbage.
Look, I get it. Some of you guys might not like fascism, but at this point, the only thing that's saving New York is like Mayor Judge Dredd. That's the only thing that's going to turn New York around at this point in time. We've gone too far.
What's up with that? With the speaking of Adams and all the subway stuff, what's up with the dude who the Marine, the guy who choked out the other guy? What's his?
He's still on trial apparently. They haven't cleared him yet, so. Yeah, if you remember that guy,
I have no idea what he was
choked out a crazy person on a train, and somehow he got charged with murder because he's the only person in New York who's actually been convicted of a crime. Yeah, it's like you can literally push somebody in front of the L train and get out like 2 hours later, but that guy they keep in jail for 2 years.
Jacob, did you ever see the video Eric Adams did about like searching your kid's room for like contraband? It's the funniest video in the entire world because it's so much like one of those old 90s PSAs where it opens with him in a bedroom and he's like, "Hi parents, I'm here to talk to your kids."
Eric Adams?
Yeah, Mayor Eric Adams. Searching room. It's so like he's like this.
No.
Your kids could have anything here. And he's like, "Look, this is an ordinary pillow and it looks normal, but you go inside and there's a fully loaded gun." And it's like, what is this? And I think you should leave sketch. Like, what are we doing here?
Whatever we're doing, what were we going to do? We're going to do this now. That's what we're going to do now. We're going to do this now. So I hope you're comfortable.
Was shot.
What's that?
No, that was him. I was just saying it's funny. He's talking.
Oh, yeah. This is like 2006, 2007.
I realize how important my crusade
this is like 2 years ago.
Really?
Oh no, I guess.
How does he have that old television in there?
I swear that this is like brand new. I feel like keep playing it. I'll find the date.
It looks like a Chappelle Show skit already.
That's what I'm
handguns
saying.
Off the streets of New York.
New York.
I'm New York State Senator Eric Adams, And for 22 years, I wore a bulletproof vest and stood on the street corners and protected children and families in the city of New York. I'm asking you to join me in this crusade of removing illegal handguns off our streets and out of our homes. Please come and join me inside my house as I show you how simple items such as bamboo paper can be an indicator of marijuana use, or a cut of straw can be an indicator of using cocaine. I will show you how to.
Okay. I knew things in New York were bad, but damn, you using sugar packs to roll up.
Yeah, man. Like, hey, you know, get a Coke can. It's a little classier.
Search a room to ensure that you remove illegal handguns and other contraband from your home.
Yeah.
What I would like to show here is to
look at that old ass television. This has to be 2007, 2008.
I looked it up. This is 2011, and the reason it came back a couple years ago is that he wanted to recreate it. He wanted to redo it.
I'm gonna show you how to find illegal immigrants in your apartment.
he's like that. Gosh, I can't remember his name. I know Jacob knows what I'm talking about. The black self-defense instructor who does all of those.
Oh, yeah, the Detroit guy. I can't remember his name. I know exactly what you're talking about.
He's got the small perm, and he's always he's sort of chubby. It's exactly those videos. It reminds me of it.
I'm gonna show you how to defend off a gunman at point blank range.
Yes, that guy.
Before we get too far ahead, though, we did have a super chat from YouTube Me. It says, "Been a while since I paid my tithe. Here you are, guys. Thank you very much for 10 Australian dollars." Thank you. Really appreciate it. Hope you enjoy what we're watching here. Sorry we missed your super chat a little earlier.
I'm sorry that there's not enough bubble coats and Yankees hats and Timberlands in this video for me to be authentic New York. I'm sorry.
Right.
Empower parents on how to search a room inside their home. It's imperative that you should know what's inside your household. And
what is this? Look at this shelf.
It's
it's imperative to know that your kids aren't doing crack inside the premises. So what you have to do is you gotta look behind the televisions to make sure that they're not stowing away any paraphernalia.
It's more insane
it's
than
two
that.
remotes.
You guys have no idea.
It's two remotes.
Two remotes for a
I love it.
For a computer monitor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right, for a computer, two
no
computer
one can state
monitors.
that you can't search a room in your own home. You write the Constitution. There are no First Amendment rights inside your household.
You hear that? It's 1930s Germany when that door shuts behind you. You understand?
I know what he's trying to say it like
where's your papers?
Don't have, your kids don't
the second these doors close, you in a dictatorship, son.
Yeah, it's so so
Generalissimo weird. Dad now.
None of this is going the way he thought it would go.
It is your obligation and responsibility not only to protect the child that may be using an illegal drug or carrying an illegal gun, but you also have to protect the members of the household, their younger brothers and younger sisters.
Look, if your 11-year-old is a stick-up kid, you probably need to reconsider your conceptions as a parent.
Music, man.
His accent is so over the top, man. Like
it sounds like he's just completely unprepared, like he's never spoken in his life before.
This may look like a regular Wu-Tang Clan CD, but when you open it up,
do you remember when Herman Cain gave that speech about the Pokemon?
It was ripped off from Pokemon.
This is the exact same cadence, like that.
Yeah,
that he had.
It is.
This reminds me of the Pokemon movie, if you'll remember. I don't know what that cadence is, but it's here.
So many memories now. Oh, the pizza president.
I think it was
so by
what?
I was gonna say YouTube Me sounds like he's auditioning for the open slot in G Unit. It's like he's trying to remember the cadence of Tony Yayo.
Oh my goodness, a G Unit reference. Shut the stream down. We win.
Good night, everybody.
Oh man. Oh.
Periodically sending a message to your home that
this music, by the way, is just really cool. You got that really sad violin, and the dude on the snare drum who's just not even in the same room. He's on his own journey, you know. Then the cymbal guy is just I'm trying to keep it together.
It's the music that plays in like HBO documentaries when the big reveals happened, and then they cut away to like the aftermath epilogue, and they're trying to really sell how sad it all is. This is that music,
but it's just looping. It doesn't get the point.
No rooms off limits. You don't believe in locked doors. Your house is open to inspection by your house and the members.
Your house can inspect your house.
I know.
Make sure that happens regularly. Get your house inspected by other houses.
And it's like, okay, he could have just said like I know what he's trying to say, right? Like anyone in your house can search. But if he'd have just said like your house can search, but then he's like your house and the members of your family. So it's like that. Is that not the same thing, Eric?
What's on top of the shelf? I don't know. The dangly things so far. I'm sure there's a cuckoo clock up there.
I think the dangle things. I genuinely think those dangle things are probably from a lamp.
Oh yeah,
like such an old person lamp in the middle of the room.
Right, that you can hit your head on the little dangly parts. Yeah, I found him in the dark. Almost lost my eye.
Yeah, right.
Of your house. The message is you expect your children to do what's right, but you always have to inspect what you expect, and that's the key to provide.
Oh, he knew that was gonna go places. Inspect. Wow.
Hey yo, niggas be crazy out here in these streets, cuz.
That would have sold this better than his really bad attempt at making a slogan right there.
Members of your house. The message is you expect your children to do what's right, but you always have to inspect what you expect. And
inspect what you expect. Put that on a t-shirt.
That's the key to providing some preventive safety. So if you come to a room like this, you can start.
It is a park and recreations cameraman. Yes, it has to be the Park and Rec's cameraman. He's doing the same quick zoom thing.
I didn't even realize that. You're so right.
What you see here is a 13-inch Zenith television. Now, you know that shit's already suspect off the gate, right?
Where's Ron Swanson walking in with like a pudding cup? Like, this is a massive waste of money.
This would be like, what are you doing in my house? Like,
what are you in my house? Those are my two remotes, okay?
You leave my weird bunny child dolls alone.
I always recommend to start out in a periodic fashion so you'll be used to.
Wide shot. We need to see all the clutter. We need to know if this bedroom is the place you woke up in. Your ass prints are still in the bed.
Hey, yo, son, I'm not gonna lie. This person's probably kind of a bit of a hoarder, if we're being honest with ourselves. We're gonna move that accordingly.
There's gonna be a lot of drugs in here. I can tell you that much.
Going through the room to look at
first thing that we're going to check is this big ass backpack right here by my foot.
Box. A jewelry
right? I would prop or anything.
I would die laughing if he reached behind this IKEA bookshelf and just pulled out like a full-on sniper rifle. Just a full-length sniper rifle out from behind.
This right here is an M264.
It's common to hide these things behind IKEA furniture.
I don't know.
Jewelry box of this nature, maybe a simple jewelry box, but if you look through it closely, you don't know what your child may be hiding.
That's what's in there.
For instance, a gun could be hidden.
I told you. This is what the entire video is. He's just pulling guns and drugs out of random things.
I can't laugh. It's had a good time.
That's what I was whispering to the chat. I was like, "Oh, you're making that joke about the rifle." I'm like, he doesn't know what's about to come next.
Oh.
Now, this caliber may be an 18, but it's still illegal as hell here in New York.
Gotta properly use it.
It's a common jewelry box, but look inside with a gun. Like his delivery is just.
Now, this is the gun that the stick-up kids use when they first get into the gang. They don't trust them with any real caliber.
It's like that Office episode where they're crossing off the things on the list, and it says, "What's worse than child rape?" They cross off a child, and it's just. Can't do this. We're not even 3 minutes into this yet.
I know.
A small caliber weapon could be hidden inside a jewelry box.
Let me just put that back there so that the kid doesn't know I'm on to him.
Look at this shit. It don't even got a safety. You know how dangerous this is?
I never noticed that he puts it back. That's incredible.
Check to make sure it's loaded. Yep, it's loaded. Put that back.
Teaching kids.
Look at the various colognes and perfumes and photos and pictures.
And pimpins and pitches and pimpins.
Look at all this cologne. This motherfucker smelly as shit. You know he ain't using it. He definitely got some drug stashed over here.
Get some dogs trained on the smell, solve some crimes.
Crying over here.
You should always, when your child bring in his popular knapsack with many different locations, look.
Many different locations. It's popular.
Everything he says seems like it should be so normal, but he says the weirdest way.
Through it to see what exactly is your child carrying. And
what exactly? What exactly?
What is exactly?
It's like you forgot midway what he was saying. Am I saying exactly or exactly? Or what am I saying again?
It's like he's reading a teleprompter, and instead of being a scroll, it flips to another slide. So every time it flips, he has to stop and read the entire thing, and then go, okay, now I know what I need to say. Like he's not flowing well.
The only thing that would make this video funnier if he was like a weird like British posh like actor. He was like trying to put on an accent for all the supporters in this video.
Like if this was Idris Elba.
Yeah, right.
In addition to a book, something simple as a crack pipe. Or using a crack pipe.
I told you.
It's just in the front pocket.
Parents, you gotta check your kid's knapsack because they might be over there smoking crack in it and shit.
It's popular because it has multiple locations to hide your crack pipe.
Mm-hmm.
Like not even weed. Immediately.
I bet you didn't even know they make crack pipe this small.
They call this a one-hitter.
Yeah.
Because you take one hit off it.
This is for the crackheads who like their crack on the go.
I saw a lot of this when I was protecting families on the streets with the bulletproof vest.
Now you know this is a black kid's good because if it wasn't, it would be meth, and that's a white people shit.
That's quite possible. But this is a discussion piece where you should start speaking with him to find out what is he.
Yeah, you should start talking to your kid when you find crack in the front pocket of his backpack. Like, hey man, are you trying to get caught?
That's what I would be most mad about. It's like, dude, you didn't even try? Come on, son.
Am I not the threat to you? That much not of a threat to you?
Yo, son, the mayor just came into my house and found my crack pipe. How am I supposed to explain that shit to my mama?
I knew I should have put it in the front pocket, man.
He doing with it, and the whole use.
The craziest thing would be is that this wasn't staged, and he's like some kind of like weapon whisperer, some kind of drug whisperer. He just walks in and just
actual thing, yeah,
just like it's his secret mutant power that he just finds stashed drugs and guns.
You know what actually be like far more hilarious if like he had just walked in and just started stashing guns and drugs in his person's
started planning
and arrested
stuff on these people.
He's doing a 4-minute film where he's just like stashing evidence at somebody else's house.
They filmed this entire video, and at the very end, like somebody walks in, like, "What are you doing here, sir? You're under arrest. We found all this stuff in your house."
Yeah, right.
Like, man, we found crap pikes and guns all over this place. You going to jail?
Senator Eric Adams, what are you doing in my house? Get out!
Never looked in the front pocket of your backpack.
And then the guy is like, he goes in the front door, like his house is like lock is busted because they just broke in and started filming this thing.
Right?
Of drugs. This invokes conversations. Look at picture frames and behind them, cameras. Try to determine what's taking place.
Those are candles, sir, not cameras. Those are candles. Have we not done a second take ever?
No, you can tell.
Behind a picture frame.
Yes, it's one take, Eric Adams.
Look at this picture frame right here. None of these people even live in this house. You know there's got to be some drugs back here.
What does that mean to find bullet? Does it mean your child is carrying a gun? No. Where there's smoke, there's possible fire.
Yeah, it's totally normal for your child to be holding bullets without a gun. That doesn't mean that he has a gun, but let's be honest here.
He could be like, gun interested.
It doesn't mean, like, what is his point here?
We all know that bullets are the gateway to actual guns.
First, the kid looks at a bullet, then he's looking up a shotgun.
There's a bullet, there's possibly a gun. You should engage in the conversation and find.
I'm going to leave that other bullet up there so that kid knows I know, but he's not totally on to me to know how much I know.
I'm realizing now he probably put everything back as he was doing this because they probably tried to do multiple takes. They were probably like, we need to edit this.
I mean, let's be honest here. What weirdo kid hides individual bullets around the house? What's he going to do? Run around and symbol it?
He's going to throw it at you?
Flick them at you?
Find out what are they doing with the item, and this empowers the parents. Look at all the items inside the room and feel around and see what's the possibility. Something simple as a baby doll. Could be just a baby doll, but all.
He grabs it by the throat.
No. Hit play. Stop.
Just also, it could be a place where you can secrete or hide drugs. Run your hands over the pillows and see if
you straight up planted weed on that doll and put it back in.
A whole Ziploc bag of it, dude. Not a dime bag, dude. Like a whole sandwich bag full of weed. Like, hey, Junior.
Whoever owns this home is going to jail for like 50 years, all because he just planted all this evidence in this home.
Right.
This part's my favorite part. This is the best part.
This is a park and recreation skit, man.
Thing that's unusual, like a pillow like this where the button is a perfect invitation to hide something. And I felt something bumpy. I would reach in, see what it is. This one could be hit.
It's another gun.
It's a revolver, for God's sake. I felt something bumpy. I'm pretty sure you'd feel the definite shape of a revolver pistol. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that would stick out on the side of the pillow.
I don't know whose house this is, but this guy's person going to Rikers for at least 30 years.
And Cider, it's the like frontmost display pillow, and it's in the front of the pillow. It's like the crack pipe. Like nobody's trying to make an effort to hide any of this.
Am I that weak to you, son? That you're just putting it to tempt me? Is this to tempt me into catching you?
No, Dad,
I just think you're lame. You need to be cool.
Yeah. Everybody's hiding guns in their pillows now.
A gun.
In their throw pillows.
Maybe something that you'll think that can't be hidden there, but it can. And what happens not only when the person who is carrying this illegal gun is in possession of it, but also a child that comes into the room and plays on the bed, they find this gun. Let me tell you what a child would do. A child would take this gun, and because the trigger pull is so hard, they normally take the gun and they point it in their direction.
Okay, well, we need
now,
to stop
watching that. Now, of course, this gun's at 15, so even if they shoot themselves, it won't hurt that much. But still, the point is...
He's pointing a gun at himself. I'm not sure YouTube will allow that live. Pre-recorded, perfectly fine. But
that's the part I was like, I wonder if Saturn will take it down. I was like, he probably will, and he probably will.
I like this channel.
Yeah, that's the part that...
Now, what the kid usually does is put the gun to bear right into their mouth like so.
It's like, you don't want your kid to do this. You don't want, like... But yes, America.
Yeah, like you hold the gun to their head and you ask, you think this is your way out? You think you're brave enough to face God now? You can't even drive. You know,
you thought the baby doll was the best solution?
Right.
I found
Spin the chamber, hold it to your head. I'll meet you there. I will see you on the other side.
As you can see, this premises is a hotbed for low caliber ammunition and crack pipes. They're just there all over the place.
It's like a dentist's house, you know, with like honor roll kids.
Okay, that's what it is. Okay, so, Jacob, I know you know it. I think Cider, you might have watched it on one of his streams, but you know that rap video, the I'm the best man, I did it, and the guy's like rapping, he's like, oh yeah, and he's like trying really hard to remember his lines. That's what
just
Eric
gives
Adams
up.
Sounds like. Yeah, that's what Eric Adams sounds like.
If I was Trump's lawyer,
and then you're gonna, I did it.
If I was Trump's lawyer, I would have played that in court. And I would have do I need to explain? He played, obviously. Look at this. That whole sandwich bag of weed on the baby doll.
Like, where do you think he got that? That has to have been his.
That's not a bag of oregano, gentlemen. I would know. That's not a bag of oregano.
Like, that's a bag of what we like to call around here the sticky icky icky.
That's like the stuff they have in like TV shows that they put in like boats in Miami. Like that's like the kind of weed shipment that like drug cartels fight over, and it washes up on the shore.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Not
like
the
in
little baggie.
That was the big. That was the thing in Super Troopers. The bricks of marijuana that were in the back of the motorhome. Yeah. Imagine
they made a second one of those, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yep.
Yeah,
they
it wasn't very good.
And
there's a reason why that one got memory hold.
Yeah.
You want to hear something mind blowing here?
Yes.
Here's something that's
is there
mind
a gun
blowing.
in your pillow?
No, I don't keep it in my pillow. But no, here's the photo here, and this is what's absolutely hilarious about this one. So everyone knows by now everything that's going on with Diddy, right? So this is Eric Adams giving Diddy the key to the city, the key to New York City. Now, you want to know the most hilarious thing about this photo? Woo. This photo was taken last year.
Oh,
it hasn't even been a full calendar year since this photo was taken.
Oh no! Wow.
Ooh, this is so bad. What is the latest on Diddy, Jacob? I know you talked about it a little last night, but that thing is moving so fast. Like, just I need an update.
They're still putting together the charges and the trial and everything. Diddy somehow in a prison where he's basically fearing that someone's gonna kill him. I wonder why. It's not like he has compromising information on like politicians, celebrities, sports athletes, stuff like that. So it's like, oh, I wonder why everyone's trying to kill Diddy right now. That's odd.
You know the meme of the North Korean girl on Joe Rogan that everybody always posts, where to be ridiculous about America or whatever. I saw one where somebody shared her picture and it was like, America is so woke, we have white Epstein and black Epstein.
We have to have a DEI version of Epstein, so that's what we got.
So
DEI.
I gotta ask, did he search Diddy's room?
Yeah, they found thousands of bottles of baby oil. That's what they found.
That's it. Just the baby oil, yeah. Eric Adams searches Diddy's room and finds Justin Bieber in a closet. Chained up in a closet.
I've been here since the last party. They never let me out.
They said it was
I asked
a party.
Rihanna for help and she just joined in.
And then Chris Brown showed up. Did you know that he beat her? And that's that's the last time he was in contact with anybody.
Somebody get Rihanna help, quick.
I have evidence that Chris Brown beat Rihanna.
I think we saw the evidence, so.
Yeah. So did she. But speaking of a couple of black eyes, here comes Assassin's Creed Shadows with its first of 2 in the past 48 hours. We have Assassin's Creed Shadows disaster continues to unfold as Ubisoft pulls out of the Tokyo game show, cancels a press release previews.
Yeah, this is so. In case you guys may have been out of contact for the last few hours, maybe Eric Adams was putting you in holding,
searching your room.
Yeah, maybe you haven't heard the news, but things have not been going great for Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed Shadows. So everything sort of began yesterday when, out of the blue, Ubisoft announced that less than 48 hours before they were supposed to open the doors for Tokyo Game Show and present on their opening night, Ubisoft decided, hey, we are not going to be there anymore. So take it easy. No explanation. They just said, we're not going to be there. Later that same day, we got insider sources press members saying that, hey, we were supposed to have press, the press preview, go and play the build, talk to the developers, yada, yada, next week. And they've all been canceled. And nobody really knew why. It was a really sudden move. And there was speculation that they're probably going to delay the game, which, lo and behold, we come to today where not only have they delayed the game, but they're sort of in a spiral at this point. So in case you didn't see the news today, Ubisoft delayed Assassin's Creed by about I think it's like 5 months, 3 months, something like that. It was due out in November. It's now coming out on Valentine's Day next year. So, you can go on your way to take your date to go see Captain America Brave New World. You can stop over at a GameStop and pick this up for her. She's going to love it. Absolutely. And you can show how much of a good ally you are by supporting such strong black characters as Captain Falk and Yasuke. You know, be a real ally. Show that you're not just a chud.
Nothing says I love you like murder.
Yeah, nothing says I love you like I bought you the most generic, boring game that is probably going to be made.
This franchise has ever made.
If you were like, oh, I'm gonna get my girlfriend a video game or my boyfriend a video game, and you bought him this, it's the equivalent of like, I'm gonna take my girlfriend, boyfriend out to a nice dinner. Let's go to Taco Bell. I'll get you anything you want on the Baja menu. And it's like, nah, that doesn't really cut it there. So
hey, well, Spencer, it'll be great for Black History Month, though.
Will it though? Like, that's the problem. Here's what I like. That's the thing, is that both of those productions were delayed into Black History Month. And both of them have had sizable Assassin's Creed Shadows has had pushback, and Captain America Brave New World, just nobody wants it. There's no interest there. They had to reshoot the movie 90 times for it to even get to a state where they thought maybe 3 people would want to see it. So I'm guessing that you throw this out during Black History Month, you let all of the negative press come in, you let all the criticism come in, and you can easily go, not only are you guys racist, but during Black History Month, really? Are you that racist? So yeah, that to me, it feels very underhanded, very much what am I trying to say? Like a marketing tactic, a defense tactic, something like that.
I think it's
like
a defense tactic, and especially
100%.
when you have like people saying, "Oh, the Japanese are complaining they're not really Japanese; they're just white people using Google Translate."
They're white adjacent.
Well, there is that too, but yeah, they do that all the time, Nerdigans, ignoring that. Like that's something I was really proud of in this sphere in particular, is that when this whole controversy was opening up a couple months ago, when people were going, hey, Japanese people don't like this game, they did the smart thing of going and finding like YouTubers and Twitter users who they could verify were in Japan and were like, these are Japanese people, especially because like I said this at the time, and I know the folks I'm about to talk to, I know your hearts were in the right place, but this didn't help, which is when the petition opened up about canceling Shadows because it was historically inaccurate and racist and all that stuff. There were a lot of Western fans, a lot of like white, Black, Latino, all of them, Americans specifically, who were starting to post videos on the petition page like, yeah, we support you. We don't want this woke stuff from Ubisoft. And it's like, I get where you're coming from and your support's welcome, but these are really bad optics. These are the
not
optics.
The time, guys.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
the time.
This gives everybody they need. So I was really proud that for the most part, all the content creators, Cider is probably the one who led the charge here. They're going for Japanese, like actual Japanese feedback, not just this guy said something that sounds good in Japanese through Google Translate. But yeah, so the game was delayed. It is now coming out in Black History Month. And in addition to that, we had Yves Guillemot come out and try and give this fluff statement saying, oh, Ubisoft, we're only committed to making good games. We don't push a specific agenda, which if you have been paying attention to anything going around, like if you've watched one of Cider's videos, if you've read one of my articles, if you've read one of Nerdigans' tweets, if you looked at Jacob as the stunning representation of the protagonist, you would know that is absolutely not true. They keep boasting of, oh yeah, we're giving the true samurai story. We're giving a non-Japanese lens to look at everything that's going on here. So Yves Guillemot had to come out and say, no, guys, we're not doing anything agenda-based, so on and so forth. And couple that with the fact that in the delay announcement, they announced that not only was Assassin's Creed Shadows being delayed for a couple months for polish, but it was going to be a day one Steam release. Like that is a big thing because Ubisoft, they want you to go use their proprietary launcher. Ubisoft Play, I think it's what it's called. It's something dumb. It's not a good launcher. So putting it on Steam is them sort of going, oh, this game's not strong enough to be an exclusive title. If this game is an exclusive, it's going to absolutely destroy us. And they also announced in that same statement that they were going to be doing the exact same thing to Star Wars Outlaws. They admitted that Outlaws was sort of a disaster. They admitted that there was very low sales. And they said, all right, we're going to give it a big fix, and then we're going to put it on Steam like in November. So what is that, 2 months from now? So all of this combined, I think this is very clearly a sign that Ubisoft is spiraling. They're finally at a point where their bad decisions caught up to them. Their years of microtransactions, of regurgitating the same video game over and over again, of insulting their players at almost every turn, whether it was through their narratives where, oh, you're a racist if you don't believe Yasuke was a true samurai, to their, what was his title? It's so stupid. Like director of subscriptions, who was like, oh yeah, gamers don't need to own physical copies. They need to get used to not owning their items. Everything's going to be digital in the future. Like, so this is one of those very rare moments where a big entity is finally reaping what they sowed. And I'm kind of excited about it because I don't think there's anything that could really save this game at this point. Like, the game is too far along in development. They can't trash it all. They can't say we need to start over from ground one, change Yasuke, get him out of there. I think they could do a thing like you were talking about, Cider, before the show, where they bring in, what's his name? Was it Tano? Taka.
Yamauchi Taka.
Yeah, Taka, the original protagonist for the original Japanese pitch. I can see them doing that. If I were to be super optimistic, and this is optimism, and I know that it's probably not going to come true, but given that they can't change the core identity of the game, I can actually see them going in and saying, let's delay this and take out all of the more ham-fisted moments, right? Like, let's take out the dialogue where somebody went up to Yasuke and was like, hey, guess what? I'm gay. Did you know that? Things like that. I can see them sort of binning some of that, leaving it on the cutting room floor. So maybe that's something we'll see. But again, I don't think nothing's going to save this game. This game's going to be a real big stinker when it drops.
They've made it very clear that the message matters more than the experience in the game. Ubisoft appears to be following Disney's example of putting more on the technical end. I noticed something about their environmental shifting engine that they're very, very proud of. Is that I as far as I can tell, this is the first of its kind that allows the user to just effectively completely change the environment, choose time, choose the time of year, and have the environment fully react to that. So I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to meet that metaverse demand for a VR environment, and they're using the game to fund the research and development of that, the way the Disney used Disney Plus and the Marvel movies to fund the research and development of the volume. And that appears to be what Ubisoft is doing. I noticed what these game companies that are having big trouble are doing. Concord put a bunch of effort into making a movie practically out of their opening sequence to explain the world and all that stuff. Then we hear this stuff about Ubisoft having all these people involved in the motion capture stuff and how many cutscenes there are in it. And we continue to see this in the AAA gaming experience, that it's just some quick time events between cutscenes. You're not really playing the game anymore. You're just walking a few steps between the next cutscene. That's yet another, 4K movie that you have to watch before you're allowed to take 2 more steps again. And I'm exaggerating, of course, but this is what we're being told. Not by much. This is what we're being told that Assassin's Creed is going to do. It's meant to be an immersive experience, meaning you're going to get talked to a lot in it.
Oh,
that's what they mean when they didn't say that about Astrobot. They didn't tell you they're going to get immersed in the Astrobot world. They said you're going to have fun in the Astrobot world, and that's what you do.
They didn't that's my thing. They didn't say anything about Astrobot.
It's true.
I think that's the thing. I know you've mentioned it in your videos, but I think that I know it's Sony over Ubisoft, but in terms of video game companies failing, that to me is going to be one of the best chef's kiss moment, because Sony didn't give one care about Astrobot. I think they dropped maybe one trailer before the game actually dropped. Meanwhile, Concord had that starring spot at the Game Award, or not the Game Awards, whatever the announcement State of Play it was, where it came out, and it had this huge budget and all this talent behind it, and it just went nowhere. But you had Team Asobi is the leftover of Studio Japan, who they shut down to funnel money over to Naughty Dog and Firewalk and stuff. They're the last remnants, and they made a banger game that everybody likes that is celebrating all the old PlayStation like history, everything that PlayStation is not anymore. So yeah, to me, that's just the sort of like peeing on the grave that makes me laugh.
Well, you know, we're just what we are kind of like what we're lucky to have, I guess, is a good way to put it, is a purview to this rather than being caught off guard by it. That they are so proud of what they have created that they want to come out and they want to ram it down our throat. They want to insist it's the best that it's ever been, the most authentic it could possibly be, while obeying creative ability and all that jazz that they want to, like, you know, build themselves up upon, their glorification of themselves. We're lucky that they're that brazen that they want to come out and brag about this, because I don't think they would have delayed the game had they kept this as big of a secret as, like, Astrobot had been, you know? That they hadn't been out advertising every functional part of Astrobot, had they not been out advertising every functional part of Assassin's Creed, they probably wouldn't have worked themselves into this position. Now, the game launching and finding out all of that, that's when all of the controversy would have begun. However, that would have been money in the bank before then.
That's
and they were just so proud of, like, we've made such a forward-thinking, progressive Sengoku Japan, and we're just gonna, like, put that in your lap and you're gonna deal with it. And by the way, it's authentic. And it had they just been quiet and said, nope, it's a samurai game, and just shown Yasuke from the back, constantly shown him from the back, so you don't even see the dreads. You just see his big green armor and his huge club. You just see him walking around being all boss-like as he walks, because that's what he does. He does a Toby Keith walk. I don't know if you've noticed that. But he does the Toby Keith walk.
He's very bow-legged.
Yeah, right. And so, you know, he's just doing that from the back, and you have Naoe doing all of her stunts from the front. So you show the assassin part of Assassin's Creed, and you show Yasuke as the big mysterious muscle man, then reveal him to be Yasuke in the gameplay. And that would have saved them so much headache, you know, but now they're just so damn proud of it, they got to put him in front of half a Tory gate.
Well, like, yeah, that's the thing, is that they are so proud of all of these decisions, and that's sort of what I was getting to, right? Like, or like what I was referring to is that mentality is baked into the DNA of this game. So short of a scrapping of it entirely, that stuff's still going to be there. Whatever narrative changes or script changes, graphic changes, it's essentially putting a coat of paint on a pig, right? Because it's still going to be the exact same, not the exact same, but it's still going to be that core, we're Ubisoft representation. Again, who brought it up? Nina in the chat brought it up. And this is like one of the things that always gets me is they went, oh yeah, you're going to play as a historical character, and we're also going to make him gay. You can do whatever you want. And it's like, this is weird. This is a real person, right? You can't just go around saying, like, writing real person fan fiction. That's where it gets super, super weird. And yeah, like that to me is the microcosm, perfect. Like, if you want to give a tiny little thing that gives the entire breadth of the situation, it's at that moment saying, oh yeah, Yasuke can be gay and he's the historical one. Who knows? And it's like, you guys know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's not like Dragon Age where it's like, it is just, you could do what you want with it. You could make them gay, you could do it. It's not a real person. But this is a real person you're dealing with. Dragon Age looks like crap, mind you, and the Dragon Age fans that I've talked to are pissed. That looks like Overwatch.
That game is looking awful.
10 years down the drain.
Well,
and it looks like that.
We're seeing that, right? All of these games, all of these movies, everything is taking years to make, and that to me is like something is fundamentally broken. We shouldn't be taking 8-10 years to make a single video game. Like, by no metric should that ever happen. Even Marvel's Spider-Man 2, which is a big AAA game that had all the marketing behind it, that was only like 4 or 5 years, which is long, but it's not 8. It's not your entire child's adolescence. There are people who, when they had a kid the day they joined Firewalk Studios or around the time they did, and their kid is now getting ready to go to high school, and their only game, Concord, just launched. Like, there's got to be something wrong here, right? Like, this is baffling to me.
I mean, look at we've been talking about like Ghost of Tsushima and Infamous and the time gap between Infamous and Infamous 2. Like it wasn't that long between those two games, and they came out just fine. I mean, look at Ghost of Yotei. It looks so good in its first trailer compared to what we saw with Assassin's Creed Shadows. And how long is it? It hasn't been that long either since the Ghost of Tsushima came out.
Gonna say maybe 8 years total since Tsushima dropped or went into development. So even that is a good time scale there. You drop your game and then they've been working on it. Obviously, they had the remaster, and then we'll give them a little leeway because everything sort of shut down during the COOF, and now here they are coming out with their sequel that and not just announcing it, but it's clearly been in development. That's a good schedule. Having
and then obviously that includes because you mentioned Corona-sama. Japan was shut down for quite a bit of time, so they couldn't go there to do their research because obviously they were literally going there for research trips. So, and considering the region that they're in, they kind of need to be on set on the region. I mean, for going back to Golden Kamui's live action for a second, they literally were on set in Hokkaido. No green screens, nothing. They were literally in Hokkaido for that.
Did you just start a reread of Golden Kamuy? That's the fourth time you brought it up this evening. I'm not against it. I'm just noticing a trend.
Someone on Japanese Twitter, they were reading the article on Yotei, and I think it was a Famitsu article or something, and they had the Golden Kamuy live action TV show trailer.
Oh, nice.
It was oh god, that's perfect advertising.
So now that comparison stuck in your head. Yeah, no. I was just wondering. I'm I think she might have started reading it again.
No, it was just it just came to mind too. It's just the perfect comparison, obviously, but But just even thinking about the development too, because they were literally in Hokkaido. There was no green screen, nothing. They were right there on site, and with the research and development here with Yotei, excuse me, I say Yotei, they were literally in Hokkaido getting all their research and making sure they had the sounds that they wanted recorded, got the visuals that they wanted.
And that's sort of what we're saying, right? Is it took 8 years for Sucker Punch to release Ghost of Tsushima, put the polish on it, make a remaster of it, and then with let's say a year delay because of the virus, still had went out and had to do their research in Japan, and then they released and started development they started development and it's far along on the sequel. All that in 8 years compared to Concord, which was one title for 8 years. I don't even know. Even if we what do you do for 8 years? Unless you're constantly rebooting it at every turn, right?
The characters would have changed if they were rebooting it, but
I think we did see the characters change. They all went and they became awful. They became mucho.
There's a lot of meddling going on at the top. Yeah. There was a lot of narrative meddling, so to speak.
What I think is real, it's meddling in the extent that developers, they listen to sort of social media too much, or they listen to trends too much. And a lot of video games now are chasing trends. And so it's a lot of that guy, you're hard at work on the game, and then your boss comes in the next day and goes, I just saw this new trailer for Overwatch 2, and it has this mechanic. Throw it in there. And you go, okay, I guess we'll put it in there. And very rarely does anybody stop to say, that's not going to work. There's no reason for that. Everybody, the tech broism of video gaming is real, where now everybody looks at it as, what features can we put in it? What can it do? And not, is what it's doing actually contributing anything? We talked, I think we talked on Saturday, or we talked 2 weeks ago about ray tracing. That's the big thing nowadays, where everybody's going, PlayStation 5 Pro, it's here. You have ray tracing now on 5 games. You can see the light is a little more reactive. And it's okay, great, but that doesn't do anything. You're charging me $700 for better lighting effects, but you're a video game company. Where's the gameplay? How does it play? Where's the technical aspects of it? They don't care. They just sort of want to go, look, I can do thing slightly stronger than you, buy my product. Like it's really, really bad at this.
Well, actually, this is a good comparison to this. Is the whole Horizon Zero Dawn remaster? People are so pissed because they want Killzone. I've seen so many people. They're like, "Where's the Bloodborne remaster that we've been waiting like at least a decade for? Where's Resistance?
Yeah,
where's Resistance? Give us a Resistance remaster if you want to do like." If you are so focused on live service, bring Mag 2. Bring SOCOM. Like, there's so much you could do. We don't need this game. This is a waste.
And look, I am a very big fan of Horizon Zero Dawn, the first game, before I ever got, like, visually updated.
I am too. Yeah. I like it. The first game was good.
Right. I absolutely adore Aloy as a main character. I think she's fantastic. I really enjoyed playing her. I enjoyed watching all the cutscene movies clipped together on YouTube of everything that she does.
Have you seen 2? Have you watched a gameplay video or like a story video of 2?
She's
bad. It's bad, man.
Aloy in the first story, she is a quippy Spider-Man like kind of character. She makes jokes and is taking her duty as reviving the planet very lightheartedly, though seriously at the same time. And you kind of get the vibe that she didn't want to do the job, but she's doing it anyway. And I appreciated that out of the character. It was very. It had a feminine twist to the independent, don't need no man girl boss kind of character.
And then Aloy 2 comes around. Right, that's exactly what happens.
And she's just a bitch. She's just a bitch. Yeah. She just makes fun of everybody.
The first Horizon, Aloy kind of like goes out on her own, but she also doesn't truly understand her destiny yet, right? Like that's sort of what the game is about, is learning why she's such a key, why she's integral. At the end, you learn, oh, she's the key to saving civilization, starting up Project Zero Dawn, all that fun stuff. In the second game, she knows this. And yet she's like, okay, I know I'm the only one who can save humanity. Oh, there's a new mission to go on. I'm going to go on it alone. And anybody who tries to offer to help me, I'm going to insult and say like, you're stupid. I don't need your help. And it's like, but even if you thought that, you're the only person who can save. You should take like somebody, take one person, take a cook. It's such bad. They just really wanted to go, like you said, the strong, independent woman don't need no man.
Right. Well, and it's time that we connect a few dots here. So if you don't know, Herman Hulst is the original father of Aloy, and he is the co-founder of the game company that put together the original Horizon Zero Dawn. His entire place within Sony is because of the original story with Aloy. Now, this is why Sony has become so obsessed with Horizon Zero Dawn in these past few years, because Horizon was the last major success. Well, I would say that Horizon was the last major success that Sony had that was a definite bang in the box, launched out of the gate. It wasn't a sequel title. It wasn't a spin-off. It wasn't anything meant to be like a Lara Croft competitor. It was a totally new concept for what they were trying to explore. Kind of like what Concord was attempting to do, but a little less copy-pasty with Overwatch. So they were trying to create like a Nathan Drake Uncharted sort of story with a snappy girl in the middle of it. And I appreciated it. It was kind of fun, but this was the last time they had a clear-cut win. And that's why Herman Hulst is in the position he's in. Now, Herman Hulst is the stepfather, the adoptive father of Concord, by the way. He's the one that called it Sony's Star Wars and made it the #1 priority for the entire corporation. He's the one that authorized the clothes, the special controller, the collaboration with Amazon, all of the animatics. Every last waste of money associated with Concord has his thumbprint at the bottom.
Do you think in the deep recesses of like Sony R&D, there's got to have been plans for a Concord themed PS5, like full on? I know there are somewhere.
They would have gone like sculpted, like out the side with like Lennox's face, like sculpted rising out of the side of it. You know, they would have done like the Concord resin, like gel mold outside thing, so it has like this weird exactly see-through look to it. Yeah. And that absolutely, they would have gone completely bonkers for that. There would have been like those cups now that are so popular, the Stanley cups, and they would have been dressed up to look like walking septic tank.
Okay, I might have bought that one if they put that name on it. Well, right, I would buy it, and then I'd say, "Cider, make me a sticker with that name on it."
Yeah, it says walking septic tank on it. Yeah, but that's That's again, we're kind of stuck with this. Again, they're getting a Lego release of this as well. That was also part of the state of play announcement. I'll dig that back up.
I learned about this game. So initially, I heard the announcement. I was like, Horizon gets its own Lego game. Like, of all things, what are you going to have? Like 4 characters to pick from? You know, and then I just learned that apparently the playable cast is rounded out by just other PlayStation mascots, sort of like Astrobot. So I guess this is going to be more of a PlayStation celebration type thing, which makes me more interested in it than I would have been. But it also makes me laugh because, you know, I'm glad you brought up Hermen Hulst, because with the push for Horizon, I genuinely feel like this is his wife, like Aloy is, or Alloy, however you say it, is Herman's waifu. Like, he loves this character more than anything, and he does not care what you think about it. Like, we see her popping up all the time. She keeps getting remasters. She appears in every Sony thing. She got a crossover with Genshin Impact. Like, of all the characters in the West, even of Sony characters, it was Aloy who got a Genshin Impact banner, which, by the way, was such an her event and her banner was so unpopular that they canceled it early. You cannot, it's not possible to get a 5-star full bannered Aloy in Genshin because they just said nobody wanted it. So I just love that fun fact. It makes me laugh every time. Yeah. But gosh, I don't even know what my main point of this was, but you're sort of seeing that these you're seeing a lot of ego-driven decisions at the top of these companies, right? The Kathleen Kennedys, the Kevin Feige's, the Hermen Hulsts. Instead of sort of looking at what your audience wants, what the maybe market is moving towards, or even genuinely going like, what is something, and I hate to use the word, but like, what's something subversive we could earnestly try to do? Like, instead of any of that, it's just, I like this. You should like this too. And we're going to keep throwing millions and billions of dollars at the wall until you like it as much as I do. And it's not a great look. It's just very ego driven.
Well, and that's Hermen Hulst's. Well, that's Hermen Hulst's entire approach here. As you can see, you've got Horizon Zero Dawn saturating everything because that was what made him. So he has to keep it alive. Yeah. Because he hasn't been able to outperform it. Now, I'm pretty sure that all of this announcement was going on to be in tandem. Now, I guarantee you, if Concord was the success that they imagined it to be, Aloy would have been joining the Concord Free Gunners team. And she would have been immediately been a playable character that gets pulled in through some space shenanigans.
Her model was 1,000% used in the demos, or like in the alpha build, like the internal testing builds. You know she was there.
Yeah, and so that they would have definitely brought her in, probably given her one of those robot mounts as like an external assistant to have her converse with. Would have learned her pronouns. With. Yeah, most importantly, yes. But that would have been the case with her because they don't know what to do with her. Forbidden West hit a wall. They did not anticipate the modern audience not turning out for the game. What do you know? What a surprise. It's almost like that keeps happening or something. But they ended up producing Forbidden West under the belief that there would be all these like ugly lesbian proponents that wanted to watch a bitch run around and just be bitchy at everybody. And that. I don't even remember the villain in the story anymore. I was just so agoshed with her being a bitch.
You don't remember the villain's Elon Musk.
Oh yeah, right. It's her. It's
Remember?
that guy that wanted to kill the world, and her mother said no, and he still paid her to do it. So
that's weird because Elon Musk is also the villain in Knives Out too. So it's kind of weird how he just keeps
came out at like the exact same time. I remember that. I was just like, guys, I don't like Elon Musk as much as the next guy, but this is a little stupid. What are we?
It's getting a little weird.
It's like it's like we get it. We get it.
and don't forget, Cider. The other element of that was because it was Elon Musk was part of the like 4-person team who sold out the planet and they wanted to move to space and live forever. And they like got trapped and they couldn't go far, so they have to come back to the Earth and fight Aloy or whatever. But only 2 of them are left surviving, and one of them is the evil man of the group, who's the only man in the group, and that's Elon Musk, and he's so nasty. And the other one is the more reasonable lesbian played by Carrie-Anne Moss, who eventually turns and says, "I want to help you." Like it's so on the nose. It's the thing Jacob complains about, where if you go into a movie and you know within 5 minutes how everything's going to play out, it's a bad movie.
Literally figured out that the Elon Musk character, what was it, Edward Norton, literally figured out like 2 minutes in that he was the guy, and then we waited 2 hours just to confirm that he was in fact the guy the whole time.
Gotta love it. You gotta love it. But before we get too far forward, we did have a question from Sakura Mita. It asked, out of 1 out of 10, how much chance Transformers 1 release in China? So if you're not familiar, Transformers 1 is out now. Its trailer was very misleading. Apparently, it is not the cartoonish, Power Ranger-y sort of people discovering their powers story that it lended itself to be in the trailers. Apparently, it's a bit more grimdark than that, and that's been a bit of a been a bit of a sticking point for the Chinese. Apparently, the military depictions in the story violate their censorship laws over depicting military figures in movies. So
really.
Yep, and
that's so interesting.
So it's a bit of a hiccup at the
political.
moment.
Like this isn't a real world army thing. Like this is so interesting.
Right. They just have so many subtle laws about, because they don't want their people thinking about that stuff, you see? So if you start depicting evil military leaders, then the people start thinking, are military leaders who say the same things like that?
And you know what? So I watched this movie last night because I did. I don't really need an excuse. I just threw it on.
It's a Transformers movie. Why not?
Yeah, it's a Transformers movie. I'm in for it. The plot revolves around Sentinel Prime. He basically betrays all the other primes and lies to the people of Cybertron to sell them out to the Quintessence, right? And so he can rule over them, and it's sort of like a false society. And at the very end, the way they win is by doing like a secret recording of Sentinel Prime, you know, that classic villain thing of like, you think they'll listen to you? You're all dirt.
Allow me some monologue.
Yeah, exactly. It's that thing, and then they broadcast it on all the screens around the planet. That, now that you mention it, like that's very much, you don't want your citizens in China thinking that your leader is actively lying to them and the information is somewhere out there on easily accessible screens.
That feels like space Tiananmen Square to me. That's what that feels like. That feels like space Tiananmen Square. So yeah, no, that's probably the problem right there. I haven't seen the movie, so that's probably dead on what it is that Optimus's whole goal is to expose the Communist Manifesto controlling his world. So yeah, it sounds very much like Mao. But wait, it sounds very much...
Or no, I was just going to add one of the things too, and it's not cutting off your point. You can keep going, but like the overarching plot is like Sentinel Prime is ruling over everybody, but he's also forcing all the lesser bots to actively mine energon for him. Like he puts them into like work camps where they just do it all the time and they can't rise above their rank. Like it's very, now that you've mentioned it, I'm seeing lots of parallels here between Cybertron and the Chinese Communist Party.
Mao had to lie to the people so he could impress Soviet Russia. He always wanted to catch up with Soviet Russia. So when you say that you've got the, I don't know, Prime, who's the Prime you're talking about? Sentinel. You got Sentinel selling them out to the Quintessence. It sounds an awful lot. What are the Quintessence, by the way? A symbol for Soviet Russia. That's right. Having multiple heads that can't agree on anything other than oppression and destruction. How about that?
Remember, Transformers came out in the 80s, like height of just getting out of the Cold War. So yeah, that's not a unintended.
So I guess that's why. I think the Chinese caught on to all that symbolism, and they were like, "Hey, this one doesn't have all the exploding boobs. Where's the exploding boobs?"
Hey, wait a minute.
Like, yeah, like, or like, so given all that, now I'm really doubting whether that movie will ever get a release. But if it doesn't, they'll just do the thing China always does, that Jacob always reminds us of, which is they already came over here and they stole everything from us. They stole our filmmaking techniques, our technology. They'll just have like Transshifters 1 or Transshifters Prime or something, and that'll be their version.
Yeah.
And there's a whole new franchise that gets started off of that.
Truck Wars.
Truck Wars. Oh, I don't know if you want to do
the
that.
Revengers.
Yeah, there it is.
The Revengers.
Speaking of never-ending conflicts, Xbox also had a game showcase very recently. In fact, it was on the same day or day before Sony's anyway. And so here we have their showcase right here, and their showcase has been marked with the crossover games that co-populate with PlayStation. Now, you'll notice there's quite a few.
I was just going to say, just real quick, like, do you guys remember the day of, like, you know, console exclusive games? Like, something you couldn't just get on, like, any console that you wanted? Like, you remember those days? Is that a day of yesteryear now?
Yep.
I think we're getting there, and I think it's for the better. Just don't tell Cassie that.
Like remember, like, I think a good crossover promotion I remember is, like, remember Soul Calibur back in the day? It had to be like 20 years ago, where it was like they gave you DLC exclusive characters, but it was dependent on which system that you had. Yeah. So it's like if you had like Xbox, you can unlock this character, but if you had the PlayStation, you can unlock this character. It's like that was kind of more clever. Now it's just like, we don't even bother to try to make exclusive console games anymore. It's just like, whatever.
It's even worse than that, because it's like, I agree with you, but then you watch these showcases, right? And they go, tune into the Xbox showcase, where we're going to show you what's coming next for Xbox. And they do something like, you know, they'll show Assassin's Creed Shadows, or they'll show Stalker, and it's this great big trailer. And then it ends with also on PlayStation. And it's like, oh,
PC.
Kind of cucked yourself. Like, how did that happen?
How'd you leave that in?
So I have to ask, I've never understood a console exclusive. It seems like you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're quite literally saying either half or a third of the market isn't going to interact with your product. And that seems kind of like a dick move. I don't know. Nintendo is this. Granted, that's their whole model, is making proprietary technology in games. But they seem to not be, like, hampered by that. Whereas you can't tell a PlayStation game from an Xbox game these days. You used to be able to. It used to be pretty clear between the two of them. But nowadays, even the exclusives look like they could be interchangeable.
So where I think this stems from is that, I've never liked exclusives. Like, I don't think really any consumer has ever liked an exclusive title. I know a lot of, I think the whole idea of console wars is sort of a sunk cost reaction, right? Like somebody has a PlayStation, so they get those games, and maybe they can't get an Xbox or a Nintendo, so that's when they go, well, PlayStation is the best. This is the best one ever. All these exclusives are great. And it's like, they're good, but we don't need fanboyism. In the old days, I think it's competition, right? We want you to come buy our console because it has this game, and that'll get us the install base, and we can will be the market dominating force. And look around at most industries, you do see that you know, there's always one breakaway leader that always sort of takes off in the front, whether it's like Sanrio for TVs, or Toyota for cars, and I know I'm just picking out random things like that. So I think back in the day when the industry was young, it made a lot of sense for companies to go, let's get bigger market share by making the better exclusive game that people are going to want to play. As we've sort of evolved away from delivering quality experiences and all that stuff, they don't care. Now it's just business, right? Going back to my whole thing about the tech broification of video games. They just care, can I get money? Can I do this? That's why you see all of these games are going multi-platform, and B, none of them are really particularly good. right? Like
now, yeah. I mean, now I think about it, like if you go all the way back to like the days of like Sega and like Nintendo, it's like a lot of those games were almost exclusively like to that specific like consoles. Like very rarely did they have games that crossed over like that. Even when PlayStation started like getting into the game, like they have their own exclusive. Like if you wanted to play Sonic, you had to get a Sega. If you wanted to play Mario, you had to play Nintendo. There was no in between there. And then, like I said, once the PS2 and Xbox, they tried to continue that for a while. Then when we start getting to like Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, that was kind of like, okay, we're not gonna do as much, like console exclusives as before. Like we'll still give you like Halo or something like that, but I mean like Call of Duty is like, oh, they'll be like anything. And now it just kind of feels like they've just given up on it altogether now.
I genuinely wonder because so before the PS2 or before the PS3 and 360, like, video games were niche and they were mainly for enthusiasts, right? You would get gaming magazines. There was a gaming dedicated channel. But with the PS3 and 360 and arguably the GameCube era, I'll throw it in there a little bit. That brought video games to be sort of a big cultural thing, right? Like everybody you knew had an Xbox 360.
Oh, you mean the Wii, not the not the.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Well, yeah, Wii. That's the one I was looking for. So yeah, that brought it all like video games to sort of the mainstream. And I think, we always used to make these jokes when we were kids about video game. That dumb guy would walk into a GameStop and say, "When can I get Halo on PlayStation?" What a moron. I think after we laugh at that, but I bet the people higher up are going, what? Yeah, like maybe we're just missing out on business over here. Like this new, more casual audience doesn't understand you got to go get a different console to do this. Because I know, like when I was a kid, one of my best friends in high school, he worked at a GameStop. So I used to go hang out there for like 30 minutes while he was getting off of work so we could go hang out. And I would hear almost every day somebody come in like, when's Halo coming to PlayStation? When's Super Smash Brothers coming to Xbox? And it's like, what? And again, you could just pick up a smartphone and go ask the same question. But I think it's just,
you should tell them, keep holding your breath, your ass gonna suffocate.
I saw one dude just like not understand exclusives one time. Like my friend was like, it's not coming. And he's like, but when's it coming? It was like a Parks and Rec sketch, but even dumber.
So what you're saying is that eventually...
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. Going back to like what you were saying, Spencer, I think it was more so for Microsoft. It was like the beginning of the end for caring about exclusives during the 360 era. Because like during the PS3 360 era, PlayStation was still putting out the high quality exclusives, and that's when they still really cared about exclusivity, because you had obviously a God of War, you had Bayonetta was still exclusive to PlayStation at the time. Obviously you had Little Big Planet, you had what's the other one, you had Infamous, you have Ratchet and Clank, Uncharted, because I remember, because I worked at GameStop too, and
that's what I was going to ask. I was like, weren't you one of them? Weren't you one of them?
Because that was the biggest selling point for the PS3 was those exclusive titles. And because people were always asking, like, what between those two? Well, obviously that, and it didn't have the red ring of death either. Like, people were tired of those.
I know,
two.
Yeah. I ended up buying, I think I went through like 360s. It was really bad.
But there was that, and the other biggest selling point was the PS3 had free online play compared to the Xbox 360 where you had to pay for it. But now Sony had to say, "Fuck you, you have to pay for it." It's like, really? Like after all that?
Now it's all the same thing. So I push back, or let me say that I half push back, half agree with you, because I think in the 360 era we still had a lot of dedication to, or they were still trying, right? We had
with Halo, Gears of War.
Halo, Gears of War, Forza was still there. Ninja Gaiden for a short time was exclusive to that until the next generation. Saints Row was actually an Xbox exclusive during that era. So you had
Saints Row 3 was on PlayStation 3.
Right. No, I know, but Saints Row, like the very first one, that was an Xbox exclusive. Like I remember that being the whole big thing. I picked it up for that reason. And there's like Blue Dragon, Crackdown. So they were trying. But I think the real death of exclusivity over at Xbox, and sort of a big death of the Xbox brand in general was near the mid to late part of its life cycle. They started going really, really, really hard on gimmicks. Remember the Kinect?
With the Kinect,
there was the Kinect. There was a
there was
couple other things.
The HD DVD drive was before the before that.
Oh yeah, that was the first one. But I definitely mean Kinect.
But the other thing was, I think Blu-ray winning also kind of hurt Xbox too. Like,
HD DVD got absolutely smashed. Like,
they got blown out of the water.
I think that kind of hurt Xbox a little bit too.
I have a buddy who he's very much like a quality nerd. So for his TV is the highest definition. He gets all the Blu-rays. He gets the 85 millimeter prints. And back in the day, he was an early adopter. He bought his 360 with the HD DVD adapter, and he bought like 5 of them. And he's like, "This is it. This is gonna change it. You should buy one right now." And I was like, I don't know. I'm gonna wait. One of these has to win, and I don't want to be on the losing end. And he's like, "No, let me."
By the way, I'm also going to invest in Enron stock.
Yeah. That's kind of what it felt like.
And by the way, I just want to let the listeners know that GameStop was always a gayer version of Game Crazy for the real ones who remember Game Crazy.
Nobody here knows Funko Land, and I don't need to hear it. Yeah, I remember EB Games, Nerdigans. That was the one that was in my local mall when I was growing up.
You guys remember Suncoast?
Yes.
Remember Suncoast?
I used to go to Suncoast during my break.
Would you like to buy a DVD of 3 Dragon Ball episodes for $50?
Oh god, that was ridiculous.
They're neither the beginning or the end of the arc.
If there was like a billionaire out there, or some like crypto millionaire who can just like find like some spot in like middle America to like build a mall that just has nothing but like defunct like companies, like you could put like Suncoast, like KB Toys, hot dog on a stick, like you just put like all the debunked stuff in
Kmart,
Orange Julius,
hot dog on a stick.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many old places that no longer exist that they can bring back.
So you guys talk about GameStop like it's a place you can just walk into. I think I've been into a GameStop 10 times in my life. I have to drive an hour to the nearest one.
You apparently live in Siberia next to, or wherever that hole is in Russia where it's like constantly on fire, and the president went over and did donuts next to it. Like I'm presuming at this point that that's where you are. So
it's true.
There was a GameStop where there was where the one that I worked at originally, there was 2 in the same mall.
Oh yeah.
But
you had 2?
Back in around, I want to say like 2009, I remember I went to San Francisco with a couple friends to visit another friend who was in college, and there is, I think all the stores there are gone now, but at the time there was this 4-way intersection with businesses on each corner, and on one corner was a GameStop, right across from it was a GameStop, next to them was a Starbucks, across from them was a Starbucks. So it was 2 GameStops and 2 Starbucks in the exact same.
Oh yes, I know. I think I know where you're talking about. You're talking about like in Market Street.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I know exactly where you're talking about.
It was the most bizarre thing, because we were out and we were drinking, and I stepped out and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go look in that GameStop to see if there's anything there. And I went in, looked around, and I stepped out, and right across the street was GameStop. And I was like, I'm not that drunk, am I? Like, there's no way that last beer couldn't have put me over the edge like that, could it?
Did I walk across the street and just forget?
Did I not go into the store, bro?
I've never laid physical eyes on a Blockbuster store.
I feel so bad for you.
Never.
What about Hollywood Video? Did you at least have Hollywood Video out there?
No, we had Movie Gallery, and then every grocery store was a rental house. You could rent that from the grocery store.
Whoa,
that's sad.
Yeah. No,
we had Movie Gallery. That was it. I never saw Blockbuster.
Cider, you're not making Maine sound like a very nice place to live.
No. Look at the world today and ask yourself, is it that bad?
Well, Stephen King wrote his horror stories based on Maine, so.
Right. Well, yeah, based. Yeah, no. But
see the way. So on one hand, Sider is like one of the most American, like he wants the best for this country, people I know possible. On the other, every time he talks about Maine, again, it sounds like Siberia where that fire hole is. So I'm beginning to think you're like one of those guys who just LARPs really hard as an American in case like we can sponsor you and get you over here.
Cited ski. Yeah. Cited ski.
Did you even have like a sharper image store? You even have that out there either?
No, we had,
they had Sharper, and it was a knife store.
We had the home TJ Maxx. That was the one that had the sharper image sub store inside of it. Yes.
Ooh, sub stores.
Right, because there wasn't enough draw.
Yeah. You cannot afford the rent.
I hate how you guys just go to Craigslist. You can find all this really cool broken shit you could put in your movies and stuff. I go to Craigslist. I find stuff from the Holocaust. I found stuff that came over on the fucking Mayflower. I'm pretty sure Bigfoot's college furniture goes up for sale seasonally.
Is it just a bunch of instructions to not go to this pet cemetery? Is that all the stuff that you can find on eBay up there for you?
It's mostly just like odds and ends. Like this was the piece of a haunted bed. This is from an estate sale of a house that used to have orphans in it who were slaves. You know, it's just, here's some stuff from a slave plantation that was a secret in Maine. You know,
so cool.
Maine is the only location where they have to put a disclaimer, not demon possessed, we swear.
I'm not kidding you. I bought a haunted mirror. I left it in the house that I was renting, but I put it in the bathroom, you'd step out, and there would be somebody else in the shower with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not kidding. It was a circular mirror. I've ever heard. Yeah. It was terrifying, and just like the longer you looked in the mirror, it just felt like somebody was going to come out of the tub, not out of the toilet. It's not skibbity toilet, skibbity tub.
Wait, is this a separate haunted mirror? Because didn't you have like another one where it was like every time you looked through the mirror, someone will kill you or something like that?
Well, that's what the feeling was, is that it wasn't like they were going to come out and be like, I think I'm going to kill. They were going to like, fuck, it was going to be the end. That was it. It was one of those grudge mirrors, you know, and I just left it there. I left it. I was like, it's over with. And, but that's it. That's it. Like, I sell things on Craigslist, and I'm tempted to now put like the asterisk not haunted, tested.
So Maine, no Blockbuster, no Hollywood Video, and everything is possessed by demons.
Mostly, yep, mostly. If it's not possessed by demons, it's aggrieved Native American spirits.
Can we trade your state for Greenland? We can finally get
some oil.
New Hampshire's not that far away, right?
Yeah, no, it's the thing is that like what I envy about this place, what I really enjoy about this place is that it's so far away from things like Amandla Stenberg and all the money that she manages to burn. You like that transition?
Yes, that was a great segue.
That was a good transition to this big news. This is what I was working on. This is why I jumped on the stream about 15 minutes late. This news was discovered by our good friend over at That Park Place, Jonas Campbell. He found this last night. He was like freaking out about it. He gave it to me, but he's also like, hey, let us run this first. And I was like, of course you found it. So long story short, so we all remember that they were regularly touting that, the Acolyte cost $180 million for all 8 of its episodes. We remember that figure because I know all of us here, we all laughed that's insane. How do you do that? Godzilla -1 only cost, what is that, like $30-50 million? Yep. It's what are we doing here? This is bonkers. And of course, we all saw the Acolyte. We went, where did that money go? It's got to be money laundering. Well, it turns out that the situation is even worse than anybody could have expected because when a show goes into production somewhere, they typically create a fake production company to it operates as a real company, but it basically allows them to, purchase and operate without everybody going, oh, look, this new Star Wars thing is filming here. Oh, look, Marvel is filming here. Obviously, that's sort of not as effective anymore with internet leaks and everything, but it's still a practice. So last night, the Acolyte's production firm, which was called Blue Stockings Limited, they posted their annual tax filing with the UK government. Just a standard filing, nothing out of the ordinary. And in it, they had to, detail what did you spend, what did you take in, so on and so forth. In that document, it turns out, if you run the numbers, they actually spent closer to, or so the number reported comes out to 172 million is what they said they spent. But the thing that's sort of been missing that Jonas found was that all of that talk about 180 million, it seems to have been referring to the US cost or sorry, it's been referring to that cost. Like, oh yeah, it cost 180 million, but nobody ever specified what currency it was in. And if you do the numbers here, it turns out that it was in British pounds, which means this show amounted to closer to half or a quarter of $1 billion. So 22 or no, like 25 million an episode.
Cook those books.
Oh man, this has got to be money laundering. I don't actually know anymore. I think this is sort of where my bafflement is, because and I've been saying this, I think I even said it earlier in the stream, but even if we wanted to say BlackRock controlled everything, or any of these firms controlled every bit of the operations of these companies, at some point you see waste like this and you've got to start sweating, right? Money, as strong and as crazy like octopus as they are, their funds are limited. Money is finite theoretically. So I'm stunned that this keeps happening, that they're okay losing this much money, especially for something that nobody is on their side about. All of 5 people on social media are on their side.
And here's the thing, though, it's not even like this is just like one like project isolated from all the other ones. You have to think of all the other projects backed by Disney in the last 3 years that has just lost buckets of money to just bands after racks after racks of money that they've just burned through. And you got to start asking, like where are they getting all this money from? It's like, it seems like they lose more money than they actually make. And it's like, are they making that much money on little mouse ears at the theme parks that they can just keep burning money like this? And that's what it feels like with where we're at right now, right?
Yeah, it's the tickets, man. It's the ticket sales to the parks. That's what's keeping them afloat at this point.
And there's not even kids there anymore. It's like 30-year-old adults.
Have you seen, there's that story going around about the couple who like keeps trying to sue to get back into Club 33. Mm-hmm. Like it's so, for those of you who don't know, Club 33 is this exclusive membership club at Disney. I think it's Land. It might be at World. Again, I'm not a good parks person. You can go talk to Jonas and WDW Pro for that. They're the men for it. But
it's something related to Freemasons. 33.
I'm sure you can get that information on next week's episode of the Bible Lens. Check it out. We'll in a bit. But so Club 33 is essentially this exclusive club that you can go to at Disneyland, where you can get drinks and food. And I think to get in, you have to have had like a membership for a certain amount of time and pay an annual due. Well, this couple got kicked out of Club 33 for being too drunk. The wife was too drunk, and in the kerfuffle, they said, okay, you're banned from Club 33. You're not coming back in here. You can still come to Disney. We don't care, but you're not coming back in Club 33. They, as of like last week, a judge ruled, so they've taken this to court. They said, we demand to be let back in. It's our right, yada, yada, yada. Last week, a judge ruled like, no, it's a private business. They don't have to really let you in for anything. There's nothing, you have nothing here. And with that ruling, there were a bunch of not fluff pieces, but like reports that came out. And the couple, like the husband of the couple, admitted like, yeah, we've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on this lawsuit and we haven't won anything. And now we've got to pay it all back. I don't know what we're going to do. And the wife was like, this isn't over. We're getting back into Club 33. And that to me, I'm just like, Disney adults are insane. You need to not go to Disneyland. Somebody needs to just ban you for everybody's safety.
Yes. You should go directly to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
If you consider yourself like a Disney adult, if you proudly wear that moniker, yeah, go to jail. I don't even care at this point. I'm number one.
You'll be right there with Eric Adams and Diddy.
Yeah, you don't want Eric Adams as your bunkmate. He'll sell you out. He'll find your contraband. Guys, I found a shiv.
In this pillow, I found this revolver.
I found a revolver. I found a shiv.
Allow me to search the other cells with my bulletproof vest.
The warden's office.
But
Can you imagine like Diddy on like the top bunk, just like whispering, "Take that, take that."
We've all heard the video. We've all heard the audio.
Well, Eric, I need you to search my bunk again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, the Disney thing is a little perplexing. Beardo and Jay are guys that like to go to the Disney parks and frequent other theme parks around the nation. They appear to be park aficionados. So they're not like the they're not like the ones that go in there and put on the Disney ears and like take their like I'm in my tough girl era kind of pictures, and they don't do that Instagram hashtag stuff. They just go there and they're like, wow, this sucks more than it did 2 weeks ago when we were here. And that's
no, you know what they do. No jail, Gitmo. Straight to Gitmo.
They seem to just be
we're publicly opening up one just for you.
They seem to just be chronicling the descent of Disney's parks into a parking lot. And so
they're bad. I mean, shout out to the guys over at that park place, Jonas and Pro and Bash and all them. All the reports I'm seeing coming out of the parks lately, between destroying Tiana or Splash Mountain for a really bad Tiana's Bayou refurbished, where half the things don't work. Trash is like being left all over the floor at Disney now, which normally in a regular place we all deal with trash, but this is Disney. That's sort of like the experience they're selling you is magic, and I don't really get magic when I just see a bunch of cups and trash fluttering around in the wind. This is not Rushmore. I know it's somebody got that reference.
I got it, but something else that I've seen too. I don't know if you've seen the renovations that have happened at some of the resorts, but they have like. It's taken the magic out of some of the resorts. Like some of the like more creative designs at some of the resorts, they have like bland the fuck out of them. They suck the magic out of them. It's so sad. The other thing that's
about money, even though I don't know where it's coming in, but that's theoretically what it's about.
Oh yeah, there's been raccoons spotted in a few places too. I think it's at Walt Disney World.
That's fantastic. That's what everybody wants with their magic.
They're just there to do the Rocket Raccoon routine, guys. They're very convincing costumes. It's where the dwarfs are getting their money.
Finally, see, we didn't stop them from acting in movies, or we didn't get rid of them. We just wanted them to stop acting in movies so we can enslave them for our parks.
Right. Why doesn't this raccoon costume have a zipper? Oh no reason.
Don't worry about it.
No. But yeah, like it's crazy with what's happening. Apparently the Roger Rabbit ride was spared at I think it was Disneyland, maybe Disney World as well, but it was spared from getting replaced by something else too. It's just crazy what Disney is doing. They don't seem to, I don't know what it is, they don't seem to understand what makes Disney anymore.
It's almost like they're run by a weatherman.
They know what used to make Disney, but they hate it because the people who work there hate the person who they hate the guy name who's part of the company. It's like, it's his name, it's his company, and they hate him. And that's why we have current Disney now.
That's why they actively try to get rid of any reference to him, any honoring of him. It's super, Jacob's on point.
One thing I will say though is, I don't know if you guys have seen what's been coming out of Pixar, like the Dream productions for Inside Out, and which I'm worried that they're gonna use Inside Out to get rid of Figment, which is a bad idea if they even consider that. Of course
they will. It's all about modern or refittings of all these old rides. That's all they want to do. New IP that we can milk for us.
I really hope they don't do that, because Figment is really popular and Dreamfinder's really, that people are still pissed that Dreamfinder was taken out of Epcot. But
I've never been to Epcot, so I don't know.
I've been to Epcot once. I've been to Disney World once, and that was in 2007. And I've been to Disneyland a few times.
Oh yeah, I've been to Disneyland a few times.
I've been to California Adventure like twice, I think. But yeah, it's just. But I will say that this though, what Pixar's doing, it's sad what's happening behind the scenes with Inside Out too, if that's true. But the Dream Productions looks really, really good. I'm glad that there's some creativity coming out of Pixar at least.
Well, we'll see how long it lasts, right? Because we always see all previs stuff that we see coming out of these companies admittedly always looks kind of good, but then it's the second they actually put it into real life that everything goes downhill and you're like, oh, this did not work. This was really, really, really bad. Yeah, like I'm just at that point where I have no explanation as to why they're doing it, but just every move Disney is making is baffling from a creative, from an entertainment, from an audience, from a customer, from every standpoint.
Put it to you this way. If you went to college for 5 years to get a degree in business, doesn't matter what line it is, and you're looking at modern Disney, how they're operating, it literally defies everything that you were ever taught from a 4-year university. It makes no sense.
If you got like, if somebody said if your final was tell me how you would run Disney and you applied all of your business like learnings, you would get an F. You would just get the straightest F of all time. They'd say, no, that's not right. Tell us about representation.
They're literally yeet you out of the building.
Yeah.
But you know what I am kind of concerned about, and I've been seeing this on Twitter since Yotei's debut and the voice actor and all that being revealed, is I kind of feel like Ubisoft is really to blame for this, especially is every time there's like a female lead now, it's automatically, oh, it's woke. It's like there's this conditioning now, and it's really
people are
driving
fighting
me
on the internet right now.
Well, no, it worries me because it's putting like this I hate that I'm having to say misogynist mindset because I shouldn't have to say it, but yeah, it's really seems like it's heading into a misogynist mindset now into people. There's already the racist mindset that's in like the Genshin kids. That is like straight up racism that you see up in the Genshin boycotters. They don't realize they're racist though. That's what I feel like it's happening in regards to what's happening with Ghost of Yotei. It really feels like this is like a misogynist mindset, but people are not realizing, you kind of are being misogynist without realizing it. If that makes sense.
So I understand where you're coming from. I will give a slight pushback because so when it comes to that whole Ghost of Yotei discourse, oh, it's woke because they have a female character. Oh, it's woke because of the personal leanings of the voice actress, right? I definitely think none of that helps. I think when people see, we've seen this time and time again, female protagonist does not equal completely woke. Neither does having a woke person on staff necessarily mean your entire product is going to be that way. I guarantee you, I'm sure that all of the stuff that we have given favorable looks to over the past few months or years have probably had somebody on the dev team that doesn't agree with us, that, probably 100% opposite values. But hey, did they do the job that they were hired for and code the grass correctly? Great. That's all I really needed out of you. So I do think that this isn't helping, because if the goal of our movement, of our community, is to get all of this stuff, this culture war crap out of here and get us back to entertaining, this is sort of only, it's sort of, what am I trying to say?
It's a little term called pick your battles.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of pick your battles. But like the thing that really gets to me is that we spent so long going, no, our criticisms of this stuff isn't about women being in there. It's about how they're being used, how they're portrayed. And now you have so many people going, oh, woman, this is awful. I don't want to do this. And it's like, okay, you're giving them exactly what they were talking about. All that effort we put into going, no, our arguments have real substance. You're going and throwing it all out the window just because you're having a reaction. Now, I don't think the reaction is based on misogyny per se. Like, I don't think people are going, woman, that's why I hate it. I think there is an understandable, like we've been burned a lot in the last 4, 5, 6 years with media coming out. So to a certain extent, I do understand a lot of people having that knee jerk, like, really? But it's the doubling down, when you actually look at it and when you inspect what you expect, that sort of breaks down a little bit. So I wouldn't say people are being misogynistic. I can see how it's leaning into that. I don't think it spawns from that, but I don't think it's helping anybody whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But the way it comes off, though, is what I'm getting at. I don't think it's rooted in misogyny. It's just coming off as misogynistic. It's the same thing with the Genshin kids, where it's not. I don't think it's rooted in racism. It's just coming off as very. I
think theirs might be a little different. I think theirs might genuinely be rooted in racism.
You think?
Knowing the Genshin kids and seeing everything they post, maybe. It
might not have. No, I'm saying it might not have started that way in the Genshin kids case, but then
gotcha.
As it's progressed, it's gotten more and more racist, and I feel like that's the direction this could go in. That's what I'm saying in terms of like a comparison.
And that's what I was agreeing with, which is this is all that rhetoric is just handing the enemy exactly what they need to write us off, and it doesn't help us.
Racism, you'll get caught up in the racism.
What is oh my gosh, did you ever watch Wonder Shows when you were younger?
Yeah, I do remember a few episodes of that. It wasn't like a cute show, but I do remember it.
Same. But there's one skit that always sticks out to me, which is the little slave skit. Have you ever seen that one with the kids dancing to the song? Where it's like, slaves built the pyramids, slaves built America, slaves, thank you. Like, it's so funny. That's the one that always pops up back into my head.
Slaves? How many of us have them? Slaves?
Are you writing the Roots musical adaptation right now?
The ones can't rely on.
I'm not even gonna lie. These lyrics are pretty good coming out of Jacob. I'm not gonna lie. I think there's something there. I know he's just doing that off the top of his head. All right, so
ones you can depend on.
The ones who need to be broken. We are here 10 minutes past our normal end time. Does anybody here have anything else they want to hit before we start wrapping up for the night?
This is just briefly. Well, this is brief. I did post it in the Slack. Someone sent this to me. That the Pokemon International Company has hired a DEI and social responsibility consultant.
They finally found someone.
Yeah, their name is Shawnee Armitage, and this is for the London branch specifically. But
why do we care? Do we? The UK is a. It's not even a real place.
The UK is barely even a country at this point.
But the thing that I found really odd about this choice in particular is they worked at this brand called ASOS, and it's a fashion brand. And I'm like, wait, so you hired a DEI, and they climbed the DEI corporate ladder for like 9.5 years. But like, why a fashion brand for DEI?
It's because, well, are you kidding me, Nerdigans? You got to make sure that all of our models are inclusive, that we're showing everybody, that everybody is like, that's the easiest one I could have ever given you. Why does a fashion company go for DEI?
Or no, I'm talking about why would Pokemon hire a fashion DEI?
Because not that's the thing you got to remember. And we were talking about this with Herman Hulst and people like Kevin Feige. A lot of these decisions now, with the corporatizing of the hobby and stuff, they're not hiring people because, you actually like the video game and you're coming in. They just need to fill a role. So they go, find me somebody who's looking for we need a DEI director. Find me candidates. That's all it cares about. They're only looking at that DEI corporate ladder climbing. They don't care if they have any experience with video games. That doesn't matter. It only cares. And that, I think, sort of shows how superficial this all is, because they don't care about actually engaging with you and saying, what does diversity mean in terms of this specific context of this game, of this product? They just go, all the same diversity should be applied to everything, and you have to do it. And so that's why they did it, just because it's another DEI person.
But yeah, it just shows you this does not look good for the Pokemon games, at least the ones that are being worked on in London.
Well, I mean, you've talked about. I'm pretty sure you covered it when the last game came out, and they censored all the characters. They made all the characters ugly or hyper masculine.
Oh, you mean the ones that looked the old ass students and stuff like that, and got rid of the skirts.
One. Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
you covered it.
Yeah. I thought it was weird. You would think that it would be in out of one of the DEI consultants in Washington State, not London. But I guess that's.
I mean, take a little look at London's politics right now. You can see that DEI is probably a giant winner over there. Probably.
Well, that's actually something that this person said in one of their LinkedIn posts. Is they said that they managed to make DEI like integral into the fashion industry. I'm just like, damn, that's what they said. It's really integrated into the fashion industry now.
So they're not just a DEI person; they're a DEI like contender.
Yeah, they are. They're really ingrained in DEI. They spent 9.5 years climbing the DEI corporate ladder for this for ASOS, and they were like senior management. So yeah, and they spent a lot of time at Pride parades too. So yeah, if there's more LGBT stuff up in Pokemon, I would not be surprised.
Speaking of
knowing the online fandom, trust me, that's who they're going to start pandering to.
Speaking of bad ideas, this just popped up as I was checking my notifications. We have a RoboCop TV show in the works from Prime Video.
Really?
Peter Ocko from Black Sails and The Office will serve as showrunner, and James Wan is set to executive produce.
James Wan. Who? Okay, I might be in the minority, but I feel like all of the attempts to make properties or franchises out of these 80s duologies, triologies, or whatever, I've always found it really weird. Like Ghostbusters or Terminator or this now. Like I always felt two and done is fine. You didn't need to make an expansive universe.
We're rebooting Jurassic World too.
Yeah, well, we are.
You remember Spencer though, before it was JetX. Remember JetX?
Oh,
Disney's first like cartoon only competitor for Cartoon Network. So JetX had a bunch of stuff that was just like, this is an 80s property. Let's turn it into a children's cartoon. Had a bunch of that stuff. It was recycled from the 80s. But Disney was infamous for if it made money, it got a children's show. No matter if it lasted 8 episodes or 800, it got a children's show. And so that seems to be the logic they're applying with like all these 80s properties that people have a fond memory of. Is anything really, to be honest with you, it seems to be anything that gets memed. If it was memed between 2006 and 2017, it's being revived in a semi-serious manner. I question putting the guy behind The Office in charge of a RoboCop anything, because I don't think the baby food jokes are not going to stop. I don't think you're going to get that weird zoom effect we were seeing with Eric Adams, where RoboCop is just standing there and they zoom in on him and he goes, no. You know, he's just, exactly. Right? Yeah. And it's going to be like that weird voyeur cam that's like peeking around corners at him and stuff, the cops cam. And they're going to think they're clever doing that live PD look at RoboCop. That's probably how they'll pitch it, is a live PD. Right, and so they'll have that kind of thing. And OCP will be doing the live stream of it.
Predicts.
Right, and OCP will be doing the live stream of it, and that'll be the contention. Is RoboCop in control, or is the streamer controlling RoboCop?
Oh, yeah, that's on. There's no other way they can do it.
Find out on the next episode.
It's just going to be Gamer. That's the second time I brought up that awful movie this week.
Yep. It's coming. It's just because there's no point in Alex Murphy anymore. People hate the police. They're not gonna. Their demographic hates the police, so they're not gonna. The modern audience they're pitching at Amazon. This is Amazon. So the modern audience they're pitching to, the people that wanted the boys until it turned into a Trump, I guess, pro-Trump thing for a half second there. Then, you know, this is who they're pitching to. So obviously, it's not going to be anything that makes RoboCop look good. It's not going to be him fighting OCP. It's going to be him doing a bunch of police brutality, and then the question being, is the streamer telling him to do it?
Yeah.
It's going to be LARPers versus RoboCop. That's what it's going to be.
I can already see a repeat of the rape scene, but it'll just be a couple being playful with each other, and the guy will be black, and the woman will be a blonde lady with blue eyes, and RoboCop will shoot him in the dick. And people will be like, police brutality! They were just joking with each other! And they'll be like,
that's
no
episode
risks.
1, and then that's the plot of the entire 8-episode season. It's
right.
Okay.
What's the Vegas odds for a shot off dick?
What's the Vegas odds of somebody saying I can't breathe?
Yeah, RoboCop putting a robo knee on a man. You bet.
100%. That's gonna happen. I would not take that bet because it's a losing bet to go against it.
Yeah, there'll be an Elon Musk Trump-like character, probably a Baron character that's styled to be.
That's the one who will set him up. This is how I set up the new RoboCop on my streaming service. Yeah. They'll do an Elon parody there. They have to. They couldn't resist it.
And RoboCop won't be one. He'll be one of two. And the female version will be more powerful.
Yeah. Or not more powerful, but more empathetic or whatever. Less brutal.
He's a tank and she's a ninja. They'll do the Yotei and Naue thing with him.
No. They'll do that, but I also mean narratively, RoboCop will be the one blowing people's dicks off, and then she'll be the more compassionate one that everybody points to. That's the better RoboCop. RoboCop, why can't you be like her? Oh yeah, right. Leslie, RoboCop takes orders from a Trump-like character. 1000%.
Yep. There you go. But there you go. There's Amazon Prime. They're gonna put the boys' attitude to RoboCop, so that's gonna be great.
Hooray! More Amazon trash.
You already know one of the first. You already know one of the first lines when they're testing his consciousness. You remember in the RoboCop first movie where he kept coming online while they were like, "Is he in there?" And they kept slapping the camera and stuff. You're gonna see
there's just gonna be a montage of him just aggressively beating down the black subject. They'd be like, yeah, we're gonna have to tweak this just a little bit. He only gets slowly less racist as the montage goes on.
There's two things. So the first thing is I want to reply to that. The joke to that's gonna be you remember those sensors we installed that didn't see the black employees, so we had to have the white employees escort them around so the sensors would notice them. It's kind of like that, but he wants to kill everything he can't see.
Where that was.
It was some tech company that had invested in all of these sensors that couldn't recognize black people, so they had to have white people go around and activate everything.
So good. I haven't thought about that.
It's beautiful.
So long. Amazing.
So the other thing I wanted to say is one of the jokes you're going to see when he's blipping it out of consciousness at the beginning there is they're going to be like, and you cut his dick off, right? Why did we cut his dick off? Can he even function without his dick? And he'll cut out again. I promise you that'll be part of the first moments of RoboCop's consciousness is someone questioning where his penis is.
1000%. It's subversion, right?
Yep.
You remember this from the original one. Yep. Now look at this one.
And there was that point in the original RoboCop where he was much more robot. And remember, they were like, we're working on it. And he was really nice and letting the kids do graffiti on him, or he was murdering things. There was no gray area with him for a minute there. And that'll be the character. That'll be the whole thing. It'll be like RoboCop Year One. And that'll be the whole focus is fine-tuning him.
The plan for the villain of this movie is just to put RoboCop back to his factory default, so he goes back to digitally beating up black people again.
Okay. No, now I want that show.
You get the Kevin Costner scene. No, it wasn't Kevin. It was Michael Keaton, right? Was the bad guy in the remake, right? He was the bad guy in the remake, the OCP president.
Yeah.
So you get that scene where RoboCop's gone in there and he can't kill him and he's shooting all over the place and he's like, we're going to make 1,000 of you. This is going to be hilarious. We're gonna have you do parades like this. It's going to be awesome.
This is where we're at right now. We don't need to do more. This is perfect.
Nick Ocado, that's who they'll get to be the bad guy.
Oh my
gosh. No, you know what? Because you guys brought up Elon Musk. I wonder if they're going to do an episode where RoboCop fights the Twitter bots. Because, there's been a full-on bot invasion on Twitter where people are botting likes and botting follows and botting and there's and botting tweets.
They'll have him walk into a warehouse like the Wu Mao are set up, like a warehouse of people that go around and hit like on things, right? So it's not AI doing it. And he just starts shooting all the people at the computers that are hitting like on all Elon's posts. He's just murdering all these people that are paid to hit like.
They're all machines. Either that's Skype or Skynet.
And there's no differentiator between who they're clicking like on. It's just they're bots. We're taking them all out. Oh no, they were botting our post.
More than 100 likes in a day is an offense, citizen.
You have 20 followers and got 1,004 likes. Come with us.
Yes, like that's something that you could do for like a Terminator show too. I mean, just like what's happening on Twitter with the botting problem is like an idea for a show.
You know what they're gonna do to him? You know, one of the first moments of sentience is when he breaks into a cam girl warehouse and they start like twerking on him, and he's gonna do that whole thing where he was like malfunctioning in the original movie. Where he was like, while he's getting a lap dance.
Let us have fun with this series.
And then that's when you start hearing the Terminator music playing in the background.
But it's got like a hip hop snare drum behind it.
Oh my god! That's like you could have a Twitch episode. You could have a Twitter episode. Dude, like have full on Twitch episode, man, and have him have Roboco or not, I say Roboco.
Nice.
That's not different property, though. Would be funny for a crossover, but
that would be so epic for a RoboCop crossover. Oh my god, that would be like
RoboCop, yeah.
RoboCop. But
say that 10 times fast. But yeah.
Roberto Cop is his Hispanic transfer.
The return of Robert Cop. That's right, Robert Cop and Roberto Cop.
No, but you'd have RoboCop going in and just shooting up all the Twitch thoughts.
Right. Well, you got that Kai Cenat. He almost burned down his house with a flamethrower. So you can see that episode. You got a rogue streamer that's driving around and he's using a flamethrower in the city and he's lit people on fire for clicks. He's like a Johnny Somali kind of guy doing crazy stuff for clicks. And RoboCop's got to stop him. He runs him over with a big truck at the beginning with. And then then he gets clicks on that. So RoboCop becomes part of the clout chasing. Everybody starts punking RoboCop. So he's got to start killing streamers to make them fear him. So they stop punking him in public.
Dude, that's like an epic. That's an episode right there. Like a couple
RoboCop versus the internet. That's what the whole series is about. He's got to kill memes. He's trying to go around killing memes.
It gets to a point where RoboCop like just starts doxing people, and he like flies out to the house with like a 7-year-old and just starts like killing people on the internet.
That's right, he can fly. I forgot. He can fly.
You broke the terms of services.
Mm-hmm.
Can we have like Roboco versus TikTok? Or no, I said Roboco.
You're doing it again.
We already have Roboco versus TikTok. I mean Robocop versus TikTok. We've already had like a couple of. I think we had at least one chapter.
Oh my god, there it is! That's that one of the first episodes. Is he kills a bunch of kids eating Tide Pods to make them stop trying to kill themselves. You're going to kill yourself if you keep eating the Tide Pods. They keep putting them in their mouths. He's like,
if you don't stop killing yourself, I'm going to kill you.
Exactly. I'll have to take lethal force to stop you.
The only way to stop them from killing themselves is
like,
to kill them.
OCP's watching this and they're hitting the abort button over and over and over and over and he won't stop. It's just.
And then bring it right back to racism. He just starts killing black people who are doing Galaxy Blast on TikTok.
Kiki challenge. I dare you.
Then you get RoboCop versus YouTube.
Sure, Logan Paul. You got that guy. He's in the Suicide Forest. He's like, glad you made it easy. He just steps out from behind a tree. Glad you made it easy.
That's against our terms of service. I am terms of service. Bang.
The Judge Dredd.
I am terms of
Break the terms of service. I am the terms of service. This is all free, Amazon. It's all free. Okay? You don't even have to credit us, okay?
Then you got RoboCop versus Instagram.
Sure, they sell a bunch of crazy stuff on there for the Chinese. May not be FDA friendly. RoboCop versus the internet.
And then, of course, at the end of the season, at the very end of the season, the last thing you hear is that I've been waiting for you. And they just pan out.
I bet.
Mm-hmm.
RoboCop versus Twitter would be just so fucking stupid. Oh my god!
But it's a woman. It's a woman. Jacob, it's the lady Terminator, but with Arnold's voice coming out of her mouth, just to screw with people.
Oh my god! Like, do we need to just do a stream of like where we do like stupid pitches like this?
Sure.
I mean, that's already what our.
I mean, we could come up with an extremely stupid pitch that's far more entertaining than the stuff they actually put out. Like, it's spent $230 million on.
It's true. The Acolyte could have been a lot more fun if we just leaned into the top-notch Wookiee and his adventures in like metal detecting on that planet. What neat treasures he found buried.
Lightsaber. It seems like that seems like such an easy win, but no, you had to go and not take that win.
Why isn't the Acolyte about the Wookiee being a detective and then us getting the inner monologue because we don't speak Wookiee?
Why isn't it about anything?
Yeah, why isn't it about anything? That's a good point. Why is there no plot to the Acolyte? That's a good point. Oh well, Jacob's yawning, and we're at the end of the show.
But we need to do a stream just like talking about like all these.
It's true. Yeah. Miss Nerdigans, until we do that stream, though, where do they find you out on the internet?
You can find me. You can find me on Nerdigans Inc. on YouTube, where we cover anime and manga content every day. Oh my god, I'm trying not to laugh. So dumb. You can find me on Twitter right there, where we are covering like more insanity. I probably got a few more stupidity that I'm gonna like expose before I go to bed, because it's like, oh god, it's only 8:30, dude. It's actually
it's early for us. What are you talking about? I was like, bed.
You Westies.
Oh god.
Oh, look at me. I'm on West Coast time.
We're gonna go to Nerdigans and I are gonna go to our local.
That's why your baseball team is moving to Sacramento.
Her baseball team. Mine's about to sweep the Dodgers. Let's go.
What was that else? Oh yeah. If you want to help support us, because we are going to be doing more anime content on Patreon, you could donate to our Cash App, which is also there. Our Patreon, which is patreon.com/PackerGirl. We're going to be covering Bleach, Dragon Ball Daima in both sub and dub, because with Stephanie coming back, I kind of have to do both. I have to do dub. I'm going to, if you want me to cover a specific series, that's for $10 patrons. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff coming out this fall as well. There's the Me and Roboco article, because speaking of talk about Roboco, the Me and Roboco article is coming out soon. I already submitted it. I'm going to be finding a few more stories to do for Bounding, and if there's any other stuff,
you're about to have you're gonna have a lot on your plate in 2 weeks, right? With
what?
An anime NYCC.
Oh yeah, anime NYCC. Yeah.
I just mean.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah. There's anime NYCC coming up. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of there. I did an article on that. If for those of you that are in the New York area, if you can go to Anime New York NYCC, I really strongly recommend going to the Mashima panel. I've been to mangaka panels. I went to the Shokugeki no Soma one back at Crunchyroll Expo 2019, and they are so good. You'll learn a lot from them and get autographs too in the process.
Nice.
Yes. I even still have my plushies that was signed by the mangaka there. But anyways, until next time, I'll be seeing you on Twitter.
All right. Jacob, where do they find you out there on the wild internet?
Society Reviews. I got articles coming up on the site. I haven't done articles in a minute, so there's 3 of them that I know of. So get to editing. I got movie reviews coming up. Sunday, we're going to be doing another episode of The Bible Lens. We're going to talk about the biblical definition of repentance and what it actually means and why so many people get it wrong. And then Tuesday, we got the Bar Room. Go check out last night's episode of the Bar Room. We talked about the Diddy situation. We've talked about Pat McAfee taking over ESPN. Went into a lot more depth on the Substance movie. So we did a whole bunch of things there. So go check us out over there. We got plenty of stuff coming up for you guys in the next few weeks.
Hell yeah. And Spencer, where do they find you out on the wild internet?
All right, I'm going to try and do this right so I can give you something to talk about. Yes, As always, guys, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. It's been a blast. As always, follow us on boundingintocomics.com for daily news updates. Smash that like and subscribe button and everything else for the YouTube channel, where Cider is killing it every day with coverage on everything from Genshin to Assassin's Creed to everything in between. Check him out. He's got the good takes. Maybe next week we'll do a proper cheers, because I totally forgot to go get a drink as well. A cheers to the apparent death of Ubisoft, of Assassin's Creed. Aside from that, check out all of that stuff. If you want more of me personally, you can check me out on my own channel, Studio Kabuto, where I host a live stream every Friday night at 5 p.m. Pacific time. I also have launched a new channel with Andrew over at the Rippaverse, where we just talk about comic books. So if that's up your alley, check out Foil Variant. Very simple, easy word. You can search it all on YouTube and all that fun stuff. Check that out. And then, I'm going to shut my mouth and let Cider have his own actual outro.
And thanks to you out there for not only getting us over 20K, but also helping us drive Ubisoft out of Japan and into the shadows, as it were. That's right, if you're just tuning in to the very end of the stream, Ubisoft has left Japan behind and swore to delay their game to at least Valentine's Day. If you're wondering what to get your Valentine for Valentine's Day, think of the gift of murder. Until next time, though, feel free to hit like, subscribe, and come on back to 01 next week at 9 p.m. for the real show and 8 p.m. for the weeb-centric show with me and Nerdigans. Until then, though, good luck out there, and as always, I forgot the last part, so I'm just gonna hit the outro. I'm sorry. I was doing really good, and I forgot it, so here we go.
Gonna ride into the night with a fire that burns so bright. Speed of light and a heart so strong. Chasing dreams where I belong. Thunder in the midnight air. Wings of steel, we're almost there. Racing for the stars aglow. To the only place I know. Sky Rider Deluxe. Flying high with the stars above. Sky Rider Deluxe. Feel the power, feel the love. No fear, no turning back.